Good evening and welcome to Burke Stadium as we get set to begin the 2021 football season with one of the best rivalries, if not the best rivalry in the state of Nebraska. Number 7, Creighton Prep taking on the number 2 defending state champion, Westside Warriors. So with that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth. Tyler Reedy alongside Brendan Preisman. Back with you once again. And Brendan, we got 2 packed student sections. We got the stands packed elsewhere. We're back. Football's ready to go.
It's really good to be back, and not just for us, but for the fans as well. Just looking at the Westside fan section, let alone the prep section, it's almost to the top of the bleachers, basically. There are a lot of people here. It's the first real sporting event in Class A with full fan sections in a long, long time, and emotions are definitely running high.
Yep, this is a huge game to start the season. Both teams trying to set the tone and get things off to a good start. So let's take a look at where these two teams stand in the top 10 rankings. These were put out by the Omaha World Herald back on Sunday, August 15th. Bellevue West is number 1, and they showed us why last night with a 58-14 win over Omaha Burke. And then Millard South, the number 3 team, played last night as well, winning 55-14 over rebuilding Millard North. But Creighton Prep's number 7, Westside's number 2. This is going to be a big matchup. And then you take a look at the prep schedule. A lot of top 10 teams are on it. Starting tonight with Westside, you go to Bellevue West on the road week 3, and then Lincoln Southeast, Lincoln East as well. So, Brendan, this is going to be a big, big season for the Junior Jays.
It certainly will, and we talked about it in our podcast earlier. You can find that on this page as well under Commentator's Corner. But after the first 3 or so games of the season, it really lightens out for prep, which is how it's kind of been in the past couple of years. They face their toughest tests early, and sometimes they've been able to recover from those, sometimes they haven't. But this year, they've got Westside, then they've got Bell West at Bell West week 3. After that, though, the schedule lightens up. The rest of the teams on the schedule are easily beatable for prep.
So you take a look at what happened last year with
or
this
you
matchup.
Don't.
Yeah. The Junior Jays have something to prove tonight. There's no doubt about it. The senior class at Creighton Prep has not seen a victory over Westside, and last year, it was week 1. The game was played at Westside. It was very hot, much like it is tonight, and the Warriors won it 42-0. And some of the guys you'll see, some of the big names for the Warriors were heavily involved in that game. Colby Brown saw plenty of action with the game being a blowout. He was the backup to Cole Payton last year. And then Dom Rizak had a 35-yard rushing touchdown. Creighton Prep's offense just made a lot of mistakes early. Their defense was good, holding Westside scoreless in the first quarter, but they just couldn't get any momentum going. They've got to get a good start tonight.
They certainly do, and that's probably their season in a microcosm as well. Not just this game, but their whole season. You talked about it on the podcast. They don't necessarily have to win this game, but even keeping it close would be a huge, huge improvement over what's happened in years past, because the opening game, for better or worse, seems to set the tone for the season. Last year, the 42-0 loss kind of sent Prep into a funk. They barely beat Papillion La Vista. They lost at Lincoln Southeast. They needed to have a great comeback against Millard West, and that's when their season kind of turned around. But they could have easily started last season 0-4, and the goal tonight is to just figure out what works and what doesn't and make sure they're playing well heading into next week.
Now, of course, we have a great matchup as a whole, top 10 rivalry, but got an awesome matchup inside the matchup as well. These 2 running backs, Dom Rizak of Westside and Jack Stessman of Creighton Prep, they lit it up in the backfield last season. Rizak, over 1,300 rushing yards, 17 rushing touchdowns, and then Stessman, boy, did he come alive in the second half of the season. Really gave Prep an identity as a running team, and that's what they're expected to do going into this year, especially with a fresh quarterback.
And all we've heard about Prep throughout summer camp is how good their running backs room is. Not only do you have Stessman, but you've got a couple great juniors in John Pargo and Sharmar Brown. Sharmar's 6 feet, 205, and he is blazing fast. Pargo, 5'11", 180. He's even faster. So even if Stessman's not getting going, which we did see at some points last year, he did have a fumble against Westside. If he's not getting going, Prep's got 2-3 other guys they can turn to if they need and just work from there.
We waited an hour. We waited through the rain, but Prep and Westside are about ready to kick it off. We'll have the national anthem and be back with Kickoff right after this. Welcome back to Burke Stadium as we get set for a top 10 rivalry matchup to open the 2021 football season. 7th-ranked Creighton Prep Junior Jays going up against the 2nd-ranked defending state champion Omaha Westside Warriors. Junior Jays about ready to run out onto the field. Brendan, one thing that I mentioned in the pregame that I want to discuss a little more about with you is the rain delay. We had an expected start time of 7 p.m. But
that did not happen.
Yep, a thunderstorm came through about 6 p.m., pushed things back an hour as you see Prep running out to the sideline. So now here we are, kickoff time 7:55 p.m.
Yep.
How does this impact things both in terms of intensity and how these teams are game planning?
Well, I would say intensity, it might make it a little worse, and you might get some guys pressing a little bit because you've got this rivalry game that you've been waiting for all summer, especially if you're Prep. You've basically been gearing up for this since last August. And then you get a delay, and you get more time to sit in the locker room and think about what happened last year and how you never want stuff like that to happen again. So I'd say that the intensity is going to be even higher now, even more pent up, and I'd say we're going to get some big hits on the first couple of plays. As for the actual game itself, I don't think the rain delay will affect things that much. Both teams are breaking in new quarterbacks. Both Jack Piernicki for Prep and Colby Brown for Westside are making their first ever varsity starts. They're both seniors. They've both been with their programs for a while, but this is the first time they're getting real action. And both teams also have good running backs, as you talked about, in Stessman and Rezak. So I would say that the rain is just going to reinforce both coaches' beliefs that it's time to just pound the ball and see what works.
Yeah, so you're talking about pounding the ball. We know these two teams have extremely strong running games carrying over from last season, then adding in some new guys as well. Westside also has a strong backup in Jamez Ross. He's a sophomore. Number 9 in white is a guy to watch, spelling Dom Rezak, and then, of course, Prep with Shamar Brown and John Pargo. The other thing that we didn't get to a ton in the pregame are these two new quarterbacks, Jack Piernicki for Creighton Prep, he's a senior, and then Colby Brown for Westside. So what do you make of these two guys coming into the game, and how much do you think we'll see them get used on both sides?
Well, Piernicki's a pretty tall guy, pretty long and lanky. He's 6'3", 185 pounds. And I'd say that we're going to see him a lot more in the running game than in the passing game because Prep's last couple of quarterbacks, John Caniglio, Sam Meisenberg, they've been more big-bodied guys who are going to be more suited to the power run. But Piernicki's actually pretty fast, and he's going to be able to use his speed on the edge. Maybe we'll see a couple more option plays. And as for Brown, he is not quite the same game breaker that Cole Payton was last year with his speed, but he is a very good passer. He's very strong-armed. We're probably going to see a lot more deep passes out of him than we will from Piernicki, but there's still not going to be a lot. It's his first game, and they're trying to bring him on a little slowly, I would assume, because you don't want your title defense to be screwed up immediately by a couple of bad interceptions.
So Prep is going to be receiving here to start the 2021 season, and last year they received in the Westside game as well, and on the very first play from scrimmage of the season, Jack Stessman fumbled on that first play of the season. So Prep definitely trying to set the tone here. If they can get a nice long drive going rather than going 3 and out and have penalties, that could definitely go a long way towards telling what kind of game this might be.
And one key for Prep, Jonah Moore, he's a senior this year. He was expected to start at both receiver and defensive back. He hurt his arm making a tackle in the blue-white game, Prep scrimmage from last week. He is not playing tonight. The arm is in a cast. He hopes he can make it back for next week. But without him, it's going to be interesting to see how Prep's corners and safeties are able to make plays, because without Moore, they're a little undersized.
Tristan Alvano will put toe to leather for Westside. The 2021 football season, Westside and Creighton Prep here at Burke Stadium. Let's play football. We are underway with a low line drive kick. It's going to be through the hands and into the end zone for a touchback. So Creighton Prep will get things started from the 20-yard line with 1st and 10, and we will see Jack Piernicki making his first varsity start. We saw him a little bit in that Lincoln Northeast blowout game last year. He went 3 for 3, just shovel passes and bubble screens, but threw for 29 passing yards. But the bigger thing is his mobility. 3 carries, 30 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be key for Prep to see what he can do with his legs, especially if there's a broken play. Line should be a strength for Prep, but you never know. And that is not Jack Stessman in the backfield to open things up. It looks like it's Shamar Brown. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried maybe some sort of sweep play to showcase his mobility.
There's that toss. Shamar Brown goes left, and he's stuffed immediately. Gain of only a yard on the play. Prep came out in the I formation with George Egan, the fullback, leading the way as a blocker. Just 1 yard on the play, and Shamar Brown is going to stay in for 2nd and 9.
And that's an interesting decision by the Prep coaching staff to go with Brown, but maybe his mobility and Piernicki's work well together.
And there's a flag and a false start on Prep.
There's what we wanted to avoid.
Yep, this is exactly what Prep cannot have happen in the early going. This is going to back them up 5 yards, false start, and 2nd and 9 turns into 2nd and 14 on the opening series.
One of the keys to the game that we've been mentioning, and we've kind of driven it into people's heads over and over again in the past week, is how Prep wanted to avoid penalties because that would put Jack Piernicki in throwing situations they don't necessarily want to put him in yet, but we already might be in one of those situations after just the second play.
2nd and long, run it up the middle again, and this is only going to gain about 3 yards up to the 19-yard line, as it's going to be 3rd and long for Prep, 3rd and 11 coming up.
This is where they might have to put the ball in the air. And now here comes Stessman.
Yep, so Stessman into the game. Shamar Brown will head off to the bench as Prep is faced with a 3rd and long, so we might see Piernicki's first throw as a varsity starter.
And it's interesting that Stessman's coming in for this play because he was far more of a power back than a receiving back last year. We'll see if he just stays into block or goes out.
Piernicki rolling right, looking to throw, has some time, going to float it down the middle of the field, and it's knocked down, incomplete. He was trying to get it to Pierce Johnson on the other side of midfield, and that was broken up.
Teddy Rizak,
by
Dom's
Teddy
brother.
Rizak, yep.
Great play by the sophomore. He's only a sophomore, and he's making plays like that. That was impressive, but about what we expected for Piernicki. We kept talking about the mobility. They're definitely going to want to use him in a lot of rollout passes. We saw a lot of those with Sam Meisenberg last year. Wasn't a very high success rate, but they still got a chance for game-breaking plays, as you saw there. Just a very good defensive play for Westside. And now we get to see what that offense is going to do without Cole Payton and Anthony Dickerson.
So Prep goes 3 and out on the opening drive, and the punter will be Luke Fenton. He was ranked the 23rd best punter in the nation by Cole's Kicking over the summer, and that is a bounce snap. Fenton's going to have to retrieve in the end zone. He gets a punt away. Let's see where this thing bounces. It does get a favorable bounce for Prep, but nevertheless, Westside will have phenomenal starting field position at the CP 35-yard line.
Yikes.
So Prep not off to a very good start at all. They tried to set the tone with the run game on the opening drive, and Shamar Brown only picked up 4 yards on 2 carries. He had a false start penalty, a near interception, and now that bad snap resulting in great field position for Westside trying to get on the attack early.
The key is to just not let it get to you mentally. Yeah, you've had a couple of bad plays, but you can't let those hang over you as the game goes on. You got to get it out of your mind and come back out next series and just do a good job.
Colby Brown under some pressure.
Oh, that looked like a block in the back.
And that pass is going to be incomplete. Prep fans wanting some kind of a blocking penalty.
Well, you could see Ryan Carney looked like he had a free lane, and then somebody came in and shoved him down from behind. I mean, that certainly looked like a block in the back. Defensive line, we've been told, will be a strength for Prep. You've got seniors like Carney, Sam Sledge, the junior, Rocco Marcelino, another junior. And you could see there the penetration was fantastic. That's something that Prep didn't have last year against Westside. That could change the dynamic of this game really quickly if Brown is forced to scramble, because he is not the mobile guy that Cole Payton was.
So Brown starts 0 for 1. Now he's going to pitch it out to the right. There goes Dom Rizak with his first carry of 21. And he picks up 3 yards on the play to the 32. And Prep's got a chance to make an early stand. Westside faced with 3rd and 7. So Rizak definitely going to be the X factor for this Warrior offense. And Coach Freund certainly hoping he takes a lot of the pressure off Colby Brown here in his first start.
Watch number 86 for Prep, Jack Kirkwood, on this play. He's the middle linebacker. He's received D1 offers from schools like Harvard. He might come into rush or he might cover, but he can do both extraordinarily well. Look for him to make a pretty big play here.
Westside empties the backfield. Colby Brown rolling left. Carney on the chase. Pass is going to be caught. Missed tackle induced by Rizak, and he's going to get the first down to the 22-yard line. 10-yard gain. Colby Brown's first completion of the season goes to Rizak. First down, Westside.
And Dominic Rizak, just such a talented player. Good at almost everything he does, really. And he's really the guy that Westside is going to look to carry their offense, not just in this game, but throughout the season.
So Westside knocking on the door of the red zone. Of course, they started the drive at the Creighton Prep 35. So here they are at the Junior Jays 22. Colby Brown is in the shotgun. Rizak to his right. He'll send Rizak out in motion. Brown looking to throw. He's going to slip it out to Rizak, who makes another man miss. Gets to the outside. Rizak down the sideline. And touchdown, Westside. Their opening drive gets him in the end zone. A 22-yard pitch and catch. Colby Brown to Dom Rizak, who was the star of that opening drive.
Well, a little bit of expectation subversion there from Westside, I think. Last year, Dom Rizak only caught 12 passes for 111 yards. Tonight, he's already got 2 for 44 yards and that score that you just saw. And one thing that looked to me on that drive like it's going to be important is the missed tackles. At least 2 that we saw just on those final 2 plays of the drive. Prep is going to have to do better at getting Rizak to the turf.
Extra point try is up, and it is through from Tristan Alvano. Westside takes an early 7-0 lead. 8:51 remaining in the first quarter. So now we'll see how Creighton Prep answers. We've had some time to get that ugly opening drive out of their system, and we'll see how the offense looks coming back out for drive number 2.
Well, on the bright side for the offense, now it's like it's turning into basically a situation where, yeah, we didn't do very well, but nobody's doing well right now. We just got to pick it back up and do better on the next drive. And I think they might want to try a little bit of what Westside's doing, because Westside's doing a very good job at spreading the field and getting the ball to their playmaker, Rizak, in space. Prep should probably start doing something like that with either Stessman, Brown, Pargo, whoever they bring out in the run game. They've got a lot of speedsters on the edge. They just have to use them.
So Alvano will tee it up and kick it away from the 40. Prep's opening drive went 2-yard carry for Shamar Brown, then a 5-yard false start penalty, then 2 more yards for Shamar Brown, and then on 3rd and 11, Jack Pernicke threw an incomplete pass intended for Pierce Johnson, and then, of course, that bad snap on the punt put Westside at the Prep 35. So we'll see how drive number 2 goes. Pierce Johnson and Aiden Morey are back at the 3-yard line to receive the kick.
If you're Prep here, you could look on the bright side. It can't be much worse than that first drive. Almost a safety.
Alvano puts it in the air, much higher trajectory this time, and it is going to go through the back of the end zone for a touchback. So here comes that Prep offense once again, and we'll see who starts this drive at running back. It was interesting. We expected Stessman to be the lead guy, but Shamar Brown got the first 2 carries. And it does look like they might go to Brown again as Stessman has his helmet off on the sideline.
It's very interesting. Last year, there was kind of a running back by committee thing with Stessman and senior Vinny Cassiopo. And now with Cassiopo graduated, you figure this is Stessman's running back room, but it doesn't look like the coaches feel the same way.
Shotgun formation. Brown to Pernicke's right. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Westside showing blitz. They better be careful.
Dancing around in that box. There's a handoff to Brown. He's got a little bit of space. Bounces off one to the outside, and there's that power of Shamar Brown picking up about 8 yards, and that's a much more promising start to drive number 2.
And that's the game-breaking speed of Shamar Brown combined with something new that he got over the summer, and that is power. He spent a lot of time in the weight room. There was a picture coming out of him on the sideline where he just looked absolutely ripped, and you could see why there. He's a powerful runner, got a great base to work with, and you saw it there. It's going to be tough to tackle him with just one guy if he gets out in open space like that.
2nd and 2, 28-yard line. The backfield is now split between Brown and Jack Stessman. And it's going to be Brown again, and boy, he is mauled in the backfield. White jerseys everywhere to take him down between the 25 and the 26-yard line, and Prep is going to have a 3rd and about 4.5 here.
There's the defensive penetration from Westside. They've got a lot of good defensive linemen, a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors, a lot of experience on the defensive line. And even though Prep's got a little bit of experience too, they just broke through there with that 3-4 front. They're able to send a lot of linebackers with that, and that's what's working.
I formation on 3rd and 4.5. George Egan, the fullback. Jack
Wouldn't be
Stessman,
surprised
the running
if there's
back.
a play action here.
It's Stessman trying the left side. He gets a yard shy of the line to gain. It's going to be 4th and 1 from
I think
the 29.
they're staying out here.
Yeah, sure looks like it. Stessman picks up 3. It's going to be 4th and a little bit over 1, about 1 1/4 from the 29-yard line.
And this is a situation that could be very tricky for Westside to defend because you've got Stessman and Sharmar Brown.
Timeout Prep.
It's going to be an important play here. I know it's really early. There's still 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, but this could be the game decider right here. Not necessarily who wins, but maybe even whether it's competitive, because if Westside gets a stop here, they're going to start from inside Prep's 40 for the second straight drive, and that is not what you want to do with a team as talented as Westside. But I feel like Prep's got a lot of options here. You've got Stessman. You've got Sharmar Brown. Looked like Jack Kirkwood was coming in for a play, and he can be a great tight end as well.
How about George Egan from the fullback spot, too? So.
And that's not to mention that Piernike can both throw and run the ball. If they do something like a play-action pass, Westside could easily get caught napping.
So we'll see what Prep goes with on 4th and 1. Shamar Brown has seen 2 carries on this drive. Jack Stessman has seen 1, and that is what's gotten us to this 4th down.
The key is good blocking. No matter what play Prep's going to run here, they got to make sure that the blocking is there.
It is Stessman, the running back. George Egan will serve as the fullback, as Prep is going to go with a loaded backfield here.
Yeah, it looks like that's Dale Green, junior defensive tackle in.
And now Westside is going to take a timeout. They did not have a player beyond 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. So now they're going to talk things over, and a lot of anticipation building up for this 4th and 1.
Well, it looked like they were a little confused when Dale Green came in, because I was confused myself. I thought he might have just been coming in to play guard, but he lined up in the backfield. And Westside probably realized, wait a second, that formation could easily be used to set up a nice pocket for Piernike and give him time to throw. But you can tell that both coaches are taking this really seriously. This is not just a 4th down and short that comes around a lot. This is a very critical play, and both coaches are clearly giving their all to try and succeed on this.
If you're just joining us, Westside is up 7-0 on a 22-yard touchdown pass from Colby Brown to Dom Rezak after Prep went 3 and out on their opening drive. Junior Jays trying to avoid doing that for a second time in a row, although this would be a 4 and out. It's 4th and 1 from the 29. Prep going with the same formation.
Yeah, Green's still in there on the left, and it looks like we got a double tight end on the left side as well. Maybe a play action with the rollout left.
Handoff, Stessman. Looks like he has enough
there
for the first down, and indeed the spot is going to give him a move of the chains. Gain of 1 on the play, and it'll be 1st and 10 Creighton Prep at the 30.5-yard line.
And that's why Stessman is so important to this team. If you want a yard, he is probably the best guy on this roster to get you that yard, and he showed you that there. And now Prep's got a free set of downs. Now they can really start opening their offense up and running some plays that they wouldn't have been able to run on, say, a 3rd and medium or a 3rd and long.
Shotgun formation. Piernike going to hand off.
Uh-oh.
Look at that quickness. Shamar Brown making people miss. Boy, is he slippery coming out of that backfield. Gain of 7 on the play. And once again, good yardage for the Junior Jays on 1st down. Shamar Brown starting to get things going.
He's got 5 carries already, taking those carries for 13 yards. And it's clear that Prep wants to see what they have in him. And what they have in him is clearly a guy with some game-breaking athleticism if he gets into the open field. The blocking did a very good job at opening the hole, and he just ran right through it.
Piernike moves to the right, fires, and a diving effort by Shamar Brown is incomplete.
Looks like there might be an offensive pass interference call on Thomas Lyden, the senior. He collided with Westside's Jackson McIntyre, the junior defensive back, and the ref on the sideline threw the flag. I'm not sure if they're going to call pass interference or if they're just going to say incidental contact. But that was an interesting play call by Prep, but you can see why they're calling those plays. Piernike had a lot of time to throw, and that's what they want. He hasn't had a completion yet, but it's not for lack of trying. They've got receivers running all over the field, basically, and that might be a little frightening for Westside when you think about it, because last year Prep didn't have a passing game fully formed yet.
Penalty is going to be called on Prep.
Looks like it was the interference.
Now we'll see how far they get moved back. 6:15 to go in the first quarter. Westside leads by a touchdown, and
Oh, we're going way back, aren't we?
Yep, once again.
That is bad.
Junior Jays digging themselves a hole with offensive penalties. This is going to be second and about 18 from the 23.
It always takes a while for Prep to really get in form. Normally it comes about midseason, like last year it came about the fourth quarter of the Millard West game. But this year they're really going to want to round into form early because this is not a very good start. Well, it looks like they got the power formation in now. Egan's still in there. I wonder if they're just going to try and get some of those yards back, set up a third and medium.
Fake one handoff, give it to another. This is Stessman getting some good yardage back to the 28-yard line, gain of 5 on the play. So it'll be third and about 13 here for Prep. And looks like Stessman is a little bit shaken up after that carry.
And that is not what you want to see as a Prep fan. His sophomore year, he tore his ACL the first game, missed the rest of the year. Junior year, he was banged up on occasion. Even his freshman year, he got called up to varsity earlier and ended up missing a couple of their last games because of injuries. That is the one thing you don't want to see as a Prep fan, but it's good that he's walking off under his own power.
So it'll be third and 13 for Prep. 6 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
Piernicki's legs could be a factor here. If he gets out of the pocket and there's nobody open, he could easily run for this first down.
Roll out right. Pernicki with time, fires, and it's knocked away, incomplete. Trying to get it to Thomas Leiden on the sideline.
Good play there by R.J. Gunderson, the linebacker.
R.J. Gunderson with the tip, and once again, Prep is going to have to punt it away to Westside after a short offensive drive.
Yeah, the rollouts, just like last year, they're taking a bit of time to develop. For all we talk about how important the camp is during the summer and getting all those summer practices in, this is still the first time a lot of these guys are playing together in a varsity game, and they're not really used to the intensity. You just got to hope that the running game can find its footing, or else Prep might be forced into these types of third and long situations all night.
Pat Foley will punt to the ever-dangerous Dom
That's
Rizak.
not Pat Foley. Pat Foley is gone.
My apologies, Luke
That
Fenton.
is Luke Fenton. We do miss Pat Foley. He was great.
Rizak's return will go to the 35. There's a late flag thrown as he was stopped at the 35-yard line after a turn of about 10 yards.
That's Cade Salmons, the junior linebacker. He got down there fast for a linebacker. Made a big hit, but you got to hope this penalty isn't on Prep because they've already seen enough yellow handkerchiefs to last them a couple of games.
Once again, refs having a pretty lengthy discussion about this penalty call. It was thrown just as the tackle was being made.
Didn't look like helmet to helmet, but you never know. Here comes the official. Oh, that looks like a holding call.
Illegal block in the back on Westside, so
Prep declines the penalty.
there's some kind of unnecessary roughness on Westside, so that's the one they'll accept, and it's going to march the Warriors all the way back to the 20, so a chance for Prep's defense to make a statement with much better starting field position. Much worse for Westside, much better for the Prep defense.
They got to keep getting the penetration that they were getting for those first couple of plays on Westside's first drive because they had Colby Brown running backwards a lot. And as a quarterback, backwards is the last direction you want to be running.
So first and 10, 20-yard line for the Warriors. Offset I formation. Rizak is the running back. He scored on a receiving touchdown to get the scoring started on the opening drive. Brown hands off. Rizak coming downhill, and he'll pick up about 3 yards to the 23. As Prep had him pretty well contained there. They've been short tacklers in tight spaces, but out in the open field they've struggled so far. Looks like they'll spot Rizak closer to the 24, so 2nd and 6 now.
And that's one of those things where you wonder how much Jonah Moore is being missed because he's a big guy who can tackle really easily.
Rizak breaks one tackle at the line of scrimmage and gets out to the 28, so Prep will have a defensive third down coming up. It's another gain of 4. Warriors will be faced with a 3rd and 2.
That's 10 rushing yards for Rizak now. And you can see it's just Rizak for Westside, but it is working. He is such a dependable carrier. He didn't lead Class A in rushing yards last year for no reason.
Offset I again. Rizak again. He is stonewalled at the 29. Ryan Carney leading the charge for Prep, and it's going to be 4th and 1.
That's exactly what you want if you're a Junior Jays fan. What a great play by Carney and the rest of that defensive line. They finally got the penetration they needed, forced the offensive line of Westside backwards, and now they're going to force a punt. That is a very good sign for Prep.
So 4th and 1, Prep had this exact same situation on their last drive and elected to go for it from the 29. Westside instead will punt.
Martin Mormino, I think, is the punter for them.
And Pierce Johnson stands back at the 35-yard line for Prep.
He was a pretty dangerous returner last year. If he gets a couple blocks, he could flip this game on its head really quickly.
3:50 to go in the first quarter. There goes the punt from Mormino.
That's a good punt.
Angle toward the sideline, and it's going to trickle out of bounds near the 30-yard line, and they're going to spot it at the 29. So Prep will begin drive number 3 from there, and we'll see if the big stop made by the defense gives a little bit of a life to the offense. Offense hasn't looked awful so far in terms of a yardage standpoint. They've picked up some good yards on the ground.
It's the penalties.
Penalties, yeah, absolutely.
Just like it was last year in the first quarter. But now you've got that momentum. You've got the defensive stop that was made. So now that sideline's got a little bit more energy, a little bit more pop than it did these last couple of drives. And you've also got Jack Piernicky probably getting a lot more comfortable back in the pocket. He's had a couple of throws. He hasn't really been rushed or pressured yet. And that could be key for his confidence as the game drags along.
I formation. Shamar Brown is the running back. He has 6 carries, 22 yards so far.
3:42 to go in the first.
Yep, looks like Pernicki going to make a little bit of a change. He'll hand off. Shamar Brown going left. Boy, is he quick to accelerate as he picks up about 4 yards on the play.
Making 6 first quarter carries. And he is just continuing to go into that line and get his 3 or 4 yards a pop. And that could be key for Prep, because one thing that they didn't have a lot of last year until late in the season was consistency. But Brown is a very consistent runner, at least right now. He's getting the yardage every time.
Split backfield.
Watch out
Shamar
for the
Brown
rush. Westside's got a lot of guys up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, here it comes.
They come. It's picked up pretty well, all things considered.
Oh, no.
Tipped in the air and intercepted. And here comes Westside the other way inside the 20, cutting it back to the right side. This is going to be a touchdown for Teddy Rezak. Pick 6 on a tip drill, and the Warriors are up by 13.
Well, the Rezak family is certainly having a good night. Looked like kind of it was a design screen there, because you don't normally see the defensive lineman get that close to the quarterback that quickly, unless it was a screen pass. But Piernicki rushed the throw a little. It looked like it was tipped by Jamez Ross, the linebacker, a little bit, and it just floated in the air for a long time. Rezak managed to run under it, and you said that hopefully it would be a better drive, but it's not what it looks like.
So the Warriors, just over 9 minutes into the game, go up by 13. 2:55 left in the first quarter. This is the extra point try from Tristan Alvano, who already made one. There's a whistle and a flag down. The kick does go through, but we'll have to check the penalty.
False start, it looks like.
Yep, false start on Westside. So that'll back him up 5 yards before the PAT.
There's a lot of other games going on right now. The Papillion South Titans are leading the Papillion South Titans, leading Papillion La Vista Monarchs 13-0 right now in the second quarter. Elkhorn South and Millard West are scoreless right now after the first quarter. And then obviously you've got this game, which is about to be 14-0.
So now a 25-yard extra point try, and that one splits the sticks. Westside 14, Creighton Prep nothing as we near the end of the first quarter. And Jack Pernicki got to have a short-term memory. He throws his first interception before his first completion, but he's going right back out there for this drive.
Well, he's got to have a short memory. Football is all about putting the bad behind you and just looking forward to the next drive. He has not had a bad game by any means. A couple of his incompletions were tipped. That interception was tipped. But he can't let that get to him. Just because he threw an interception doesn't mean it was his fault. He's still a great quarterback. But if I'm Prep, I got to admit, I'm starting to look a little deeper into the playbook. The run game is not getting it done, and it might be time to go to something different. Maybe try a couple option plays, deep passes, because what they've got going now It's consistent, but it's not working.
Shamar Brown has 7 carries for 26 yards so far. Jack Stessman 2 carries for 5 yards. And, of course, Prep still without a completion late in the first quarter. Warriors scored their first touchdown on Dominic Rezak's 22-yard reception from Colby Brown. And then the pick 6 from his brother Teddy Rezak just moments ago. So 14-0 is where we stand.
You got to wonder if Anthony Rezak might get a touchdown later in this game. He's a sophomore quarterback and defensive back. If things continue holding to form, he might get some playing time.
We'll see what happens. Tristan Alvano will get set to kick things away for Westside. Once again, Pierce Johnson, Aiden Morey are back deep for the Junior Jays.
And those guys are, they've got game-breaking speed, but Westside's done a good job at kicking the ball away from them. Alvano, his first kick was through the hands of Johnson and into the end zone, and the second kick was over the heads of both of them. And that's one thing that Westside's been doing a great job at so far is keeping Prep's fast guys contained.
Alvano's kick is going to go through the back of the end zone once again, this time on the fly. Another touchback will start Prep at their own 20-yard line, and on the heels of the pick 6, we'll see what the offense looks like for what is now drive number 4 in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it's early, obviously. It's very early in the season, but you gotta wonder if the offense is getting maybe a little bland because there's a lot of runs up the middle. We've only seen, I think, one run to the outside. The only things that have really gone to the outside have been the rollout passes, and those definitely have not been working so far.
First play of the drive is a toss outside to Shamar Brown, and he's going to be spilled after a gain of 2 or 3. So Brown continues to be the bell cow in the early going for Creighton Prep, as they'll give him about 3 yards on that carry. It'll be 2nd and 7 for the Junior Jays. Stessman will check in for Brown.
Might be a little tired. He's been doing most of the work for the offense tonight. But there's got to be more guys. That was kind of a problem with Prep last year. There were games where Cassiopo would have a good game or Stessman would have a good game, but nobody else would really step up. We haven't seen anybody else on the Prep offense step up yet and say, you know what, it's time to make a great play. I'm going to do it.
Play fake. Pernicke rolling right. Pressure in his face. He fires. And is that caught? No, it is not. Incomplete. Leiden nearly made a great acrobatic play. And, oh,
He's
no.
down.
Oh, his helmet comes off. He is in some pain down there at the 33-yard line.
Looked like he got sandwiched in between the turf and the defender. You never want to see that for Prep.
Man.
Especially because with Moore out, he was probably the second guy on the receiver depth chart for Prep. So that's now 2 senior receivers, 2 experienced guys who I think were ending up starting games by the end of last year, injured and probably out for the rest of the game.
Leiden being tended to down on the 33-yard line after that incompletion. We'll be right back here on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Good to see Thomas Leiden able to get back to his feet and come off the field. Here's 3rd and 7 for Creighton Prep as Pernicke's pass tipped again and intercepted again.
Rezak again.
Oh my goodness gracious. Rezak with his second interception, and Westside is going to take over at the 23-yard line of Prep. Holy smokes. Pernicke with interceptions on back-to-back drives, and both of them, I don't know if they were entirely his fault, just tipped up in the air and right to a Westside defensive back.
It looked like there might have been a miscommunication. I think that was Ed Hubner, the junior receiver, running that route. But he wasn't even looking at Pernicke when the ball was thrown, and maybe that was more of a timing route. But I don't think he saw where the ball was until it was far too late. And you just got a feel for the Prep defense. They had kind of a rough start their first series, but they've stepped up, and they've been given a short field through no fault of their own. But it's going to be them who's going to have to make the plays if Prep's going to get back in this game.
So after the Teddy Rezak interception, here's a pitch to
his brother,
Tom Rezak, running left, and Prep has that contained pretty well on the outside. Gain of about 2 yards, as they'll spot him down at the 22, so only a 1-yard gain. Good start defensively for Prep. It'll be 2nd and 9, Westside from the 22.
One thing I kept hearing is that the ways to win for Prep would be hold Westside under 20 and win the turnover battle. So far, they definitely haven't done the second, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do the first.
2nd down, Colby Brown looking for a deep shot. That's going to be incomplete, and there's a flag late. I think
that's going to be a late hit on Carney,
yep,
I think.
I think they're going to get roughing the passer on Ryan Carney.
Even when the defense makes a good play, it can't last. It's just been that kind of night for the Junior Jays. Guess that rainbow was in Westside's favor that we saw earlier.
I suppose. Flag was thrown back at the 30-yard line. And there you go. Roughing the passer is the call. It's against Prep. And the Warriors will get a first down. They will march into the red zone yet again. And the ball will be spotted at the 11-yard line of the Junior Jays.
Alcorn South just took the lead over Millard West. Ben Warren with a 44-yard score.
So 1st and 10 now here. Shotgun formation. Rezak to the left of Colby Brown. And we're going to get another pre-snap whistle. Two of the officials having a discussion at the 14.
Inadvertent whistle, maybe? There doesn't appear to be a flag on the field. I'm not sure what that was about.
Yeah, not terribly sure.
Maybe one of the officials thought there were 12 men on the field but miscounted or something?
Who knows? Anyway, it is still 1st and 10 Westside at the 11. Same formation. Rezak to the left of Brown. It's going to be a throw. Colby Brown firing, and that was behind his receiver. Might have been a miscommunication with Colby Brown and his intended target, Ty Kiefer. And it'll be 2nd and 10.
The thing that's really scary about Westside's offense isn't necessarily their passing game. We've seen that that's kind of struggled so far. But the scary thing is that they force you to respect it. Look, right now they've got 4 receivers split out. But you can't just focus on the receivers because you got Dominic Rezak in the backfield. And it's really kind of a pick your poison for Prep.
There's the pitch to Rezak, and look at the blue jersey swarming him way back in the backfield. Loss of about 5 yards. Michael Barrett was in there. Sam Sledge was in there.
Yeah, it looked like it was Barrett coming from his linebacker spot. He was named a captain this year, as was Sledge. And the Prep defense showing a lot of fight with about 45 seconds remaining in this opening quarter of the Class A football season.
Yep, so that's going to make it 3rd and 15. Westside now moved back to the Prep 16-yard line. Still a shotgun formation. Rezak to Brown's right once again. Here's Colby Brown to throw. Pressure is coming. The pass is low and incomplete. So the Junior Jays defense, specifically the defensive line and front 7, do their job. And now they'll have a chance to either force Westside to 3 or none, depending on the field goal.
And what's really nice about the front 7 doing their jobs, like you said, is that it means that the back 4, the secondary, they can still work as hard, but they can also come help up there because we've seen Westside's passing game basically just be non-existent. A lot of overthrows, a lot of miscommunications. If Prep can continue to force them into passing situations, the defense might be able to keep getting stops.
33-yard field goal try for Alvano is good. So he's made 2 extra points, and now he's made a field goal. And with 18 seconds remaining in the opening quarter, it's 17-0 Warriors. But the Junior Jays defense definitely showing some promise. The only issue is the field position. Westside twice now has gotten field position on the plus side of midfield.
They are. We got to talk with a couple of people from Westside earlier, and one of the things they mentioned is that their offensive line is young, especially in the middle. They've got a lot of sophomores and juniors that they're bringing in. And then you look at Prep on the other side, it's all seniors and juniors that were key rotation guys last year. So if they can continue to do that, continue to force Rezac to just those outside runs that only go for 2 or 3 yards, and continue to force Colby Brown to throw in completions, the defense might keep Prep in this game.
Pierce Johnson, Aiden Morey back deep once again to receive the kick. Alvano has already banged 3 touchbacks through the end zone. Warriors leading 17-0. They've gotten touchdowns from Dom Rezac on a 22-yard reception, from Teddy Rezac on a pick 6, and then the field goal 33 yards from Alvano, who's about set to kick this one off. Looks like another good one, and indeed it is. Through the back of the end zone once again. He's got a slight breeze at his back blowing out of the south tonight. But anyway, Prep will begin at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Their 5th drive already of the opening quarter. And
not a lot of success.
Yeah, so far it hasn't been great. They've shown some pretty good signs at times running the ball with Shamar Brown, but every time they've put it in the air, it's either been incompletion or tipped interception. So we'll see how the Junior Jays decide to play this one. Trailing by 3 possessions. We'll go back to the I formation with George Egan, the fullback, and Shamar Brown, the tailback. 2 receivers to the right side.
They just got to avoid penalties on this drive. They do that, they won't need to worry about the passing game.
Play action. Pernicke in trouble, sets his feet, fires it up, and it
nearly
got tied
picked
up
off
there.
again.
Yep, incomplete. The intended target was Jack Kirkwood.
That
but
was Grant Butler, the sophomore.
Jackson McIntyre.
Oh.
Yep, 11 for Westside.
Oh, it was 11. I thought it was 12. Sorry.
Yep. McIntyre gets in there to break up the intended pass for Kirkwood, so it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 20.
And I'm not really sure what Prep's going with here. I know I said that they should probably dig a little deeper into the playbook, but it's 1st and 10. There's no need to force yourself into a 2nd and long here. The runs have been getting you 3-4 yards a pop. Just keep working with those until Westside stops them, because they haven't. The only thing that stop Prep is turnovers and penalties.
Fake the toss to Brown, give it to George Egan, who runs over Rezac, and then Rezac gets some support, but pretty nice play design from the Junior Jays, faking the toss, then giving it to the big boy up the middle. That picks up about 9 yards, and that'll take us to the end of quarter number 1. Not a favorable quarter for the Junior Jays. The Warriors have jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Stay with us. We'll be right back here on the CP Sports Network to bring you quarter number 2. Welcome back to Burke Stadium. 7th-ranked Creighton Prep Junior Jays taking on the 2nd-ranked Westside Warriors. Tyler Reedy and Brendan Prizeman here to give you the call. Westside leads at 17-0 on a 22-yard touchdown reception from Dom Rezac, and then a pick 6 from his brother Teddy Rezac, followed up by a 33-yard field goal from Cole Alvano. So here's 3rd and 1 from the Junior Jays at their own 29-yard line.
They got that power formation back
they'll go with the loaded backfield once again.
Look out for the run, just like straight off the center.
Run it up the middle. Brown falls forward and gets the first down to the 31-yard line. So gain of 2 on the play. Junior Jays move the chains by just enough once again. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 31.
Hey, on the bright side, your Chiefs are winning right now.
Well, that's good.
They're beating the Vikings 21-3.
There we go.
It's only halftime though, so you never know.
Prep going with the loaded backfield once again. 1st and 10 at the 31.
I mean, they might as well stick with it. It's been working for them, and it's one of the few things it has.
Run it up the middle, and this time it is not going to work as Shamar Brown is stood up after a gain of only 1. So that'll bring up 2nd and 9 from the 32.
Starting to get a little muggy here. The heat from earlier combined with the rain. It's definitely pretty humid out here, and you have to wonder how that might affect the game because you're going to get tired pretty quickly if it's as humid as it is right now.
And we've definitely seen the ball has been flying a lot more on those kicks from Tristan Alvano, so definitely affect things in multiple ways. That humidity is going to last for quite a while even after the sun goes down. Here's 2nd and 9. Pernicke in the gun. He's going to hand it off to Brown. Somehow gets away from that convoy of Warriors and breaks it to the outside for a gain of 4. That's one heck of an effort from Shamar Brown. Looked like he had no chance before he even got the carry. There were white jerseys everywhere.
He ended up turning backwards, basically.
Yep, able to get out of it.
And somehow managed to set up a 3rd and manageable. And now we're starting to see why he's been the guy for this prep coaching staff. We were a little confused when he came out to get the opening carries instead of Jack Stessman, but he's proved himself a little bit. He's definitely shown that he's got the ability to break a play wide open when he needs to.
Pernicke in the gun. He'll send Stessman out to the left and throw the dump off to him. Oh, he did a nice job to lead him, but Stessman couldn't quite bring it in. Might have heard the footsteps of a couple of Westside defensive backs, and that's going to bring up 4th down for the Junior Jays, and the punting team will head out onto the field.
Looked like a good drive for a while, but the passing game on 3rd downs, it just looks a little jittery. And some of that could be down to first game jitters. Some of it could be down to, we've thrown 2 interceptions. Some of it could be down to just the emotional intensity of a rivalry. But Prep's got to figure it out because if they don't, the score is only going to get worse for them.
Luke Fenton getting set to punt this one away. Dom Rizak is the return man once again inside the 30 of Westside. Snap is good. There's the punt. Pretty low line drive taken by Rizak. He runs right, cuts it back up the middle. Look at the head of speed from Rizak as he crosses midfield and gets all the way down inside the Junior Jays 30-yard line. And it's becoming a broken record at this point. Warriors with great starting field position once again.
Is that the 3rd or 4th time they're inside the Prep 35 to start?
That'd be the 3rd time. It would be the 4th time if it weren't for the pick 6.
Yeah, but that's the last thing you want to do. When you're playing a team that's a little better than you, even if the talent gap is minuscule, the last thing you want to do is give their offense an easy time of it when it comes to scoring. And that's basically all Prep has done. Westside's just had short field after short field, and that's why they're up 17-0.
Brown in the shotgun. He's going to hand off to Rizak on 1st down. He breaks through the middle. And he's going to have another 1st down inside the 20 down to the 19. Gain of 11 yards, and Rizak, who went into that carry, averaging only 1.5 yards per try, able to build on that average with a pickup of 11, Westside to the red zone.
Looks a little bit like the Charmar Brown run we saw last series. I thought Rizak was going to be bottled up in the backfield, but he somehow managed to break free of it and get the 1st down.
Give it to him again. Rizak puts his head down and gets a couple yards, bottled up successfully by the Junior Jays that time. Will be a gain of 2, setting up 2nd and 8 from the 17. As Rizak certainly has done a pretty good job keeping the pressure off Colby Brown making his first varsity start, but Brown, when he has had to throw, has looked pretty good, already firing a touchdown tonight.
Well, again, guess who that touchdown was to? Rizak.
There you go.
I mean, it's just over and over again. Rizak is by far the best player on the field right now, and it's showing almost every time he touches the ball.
8:55 left until halftime. Rizak again, this time going left. Gets away from one would-be tackler and goes inside the 15 down to the 14.
He's just so fast when he gets to the edge. It's incredible. And then he can do stuff like run over the tacklers, too. It's almost unfair, the mixture of speed and power that Dom Rizak has.
So call it a gain of 3. That'll bring up 3rd and 5 for the Warriors. If they are unable to convert here, we've already seen Tristan Alvano make one field goal from 33 yards away. It'd be about a 32, 33-yard try from here.
Looks like Rizak might be taking a break. I don't see him in the backfield right
instead
now.
They've got the backup, Jamez Ross.
And Andrew Nielsen, the fullback, in as well. Wonder if that's going to be more pass protection for Brown or maybe a power run.
Here comes 3rd and 5, and still looking to the sideline, the Westside offense. Finally, they will take a timeout and discuss things ahead of this 3rd down.
You mentioned Rizak taking the pressure off of Colby Brown in his first varsity start. Once the security blanket for the offense goes, it looks like they need to take a timeout. But in all seriousness, Rizak has just been absolutely incredible this game. Prep hasn't really found a way to stop him yet. And even on these 3rd downs, Rizak has the speed and the power to get these even when it seems like he's bottled up. And Brown really hasn't had to throw. And when he has, his best throws have just been little dump-offs to Rizak, and Rizak has worked from there. So Prep's got to do a better job at forcing Brown to throw it to somebody else.
So 7:56 left in the first half. It'll be 3rd and 5 here for the Warriors from the 14-yard line. Visitors are up 17 here in the home Junior Jays. So far, Westside 1 for 3 on 3rd downs. 5 from the 14. Rizak will come back into the game.
Maybe just needed some water.
Yep.
Because he's been doing a lot.
Shotgun for Colby Brown. He's going to look to throw. The southpaw fires over the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of his intended target. Incomplete, intended for Carter Hogan. And now 4th and 5 coming up. Here comes the field goal unit.
You could see Brown lie on the ground a little bit extra after that throw. It looked like he was a little disappointed because that was probably his best throw of the night. Made it through the pressure, through the defense, right over the middle. It was a good throw, but it's just dropped. And those are the kind of breaks that Prep needs to keep getting if they want to dig themselves out of this hole, which now could be as much as 20-0 with 7:50 to go in the first half.
Tristan Alvano has already hit from 33 yards out. This from 31. The snap wasn't great, but the hold was well done, and the kick is through the uprights to make it 20-0 Westside. So Alvano having himself a nice night, 2 for 2 on extra points, 2 for 2 on field goals, and now the Junior Jays, still with a 3-possession game, see their deficit grow to 20. But their defense, all things considered, have been pretty good tonight, especially that front seven.
When you consider how many times they've had a short field, it's honestly incredible that Westside's only scored 20 points, because you could argue that margin could be into the 30s by now. But the defense is doing good. The offense just needs to pick up the slack. That was kind of a recurring theme last year, too, in that the defense would be playing well, the offense wouldn't, and then by the 3rd quarter, so the defense just couldn't keep it up. So now this is where the offense really needs to come on in and start playing well.
Johnson and Aiden Morey will be back to receive the kick once again. Neither of them have gotten a chance so far, as all 4 kickoffs from Alvano have gone through the back of the end zone for touchbacks. However, this time around he will be kicking from north to south, so we'll see if that has any impact on things. Junior Jays have, as expected, run the ball a lot in the early going, even when trailing by a couple of scores. Shamar Brown, 11 carries for 36 yards. George Egan with 1 for 9 yards, and Jack Stessman with 2 for 5 yards. And Prep still yet to complete a pass. Pernicke is 0 for 7 with 2 interceptions.
You know that joke about, like, bad quarterbacks? Like, I think it was Sam Darnold a couple years ago, where it's like his primary target's the ground.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like Westside fans could start making those jokes now.
See if Pernicky can turn things around. Here is the kick. This time it does look to be returnable, and it'll be taken from the 8. Pierce Johnson right down the middle.
Go,
has
go, go.
some room. Johnson
Go,
to the
baby.
outside. He's across midfield. He's still on his feet. Hurdles over the kicker. What a return by Pierce Johnson. All the way to the 25 of Westside.
And that's what they needed. That's the first big play since the stop on 3rd and short that Prep had early in the first quarter. And now the sideline is going to have a little extra energy. The offense is going to come out there and play loose. That is exactly what Prep needed after forcing just the field goal. They could cut this deficit to just 2 touchdowns really quickly.
So the time is now for the Junior Jays. The goal line looms just 25 yards away after that amazing kick return from Pierce Johnson.
And the thing about the Prep offense is that you could argue they've been more unlucky than anything right now. Both of Piernicki's interceptions have been tipped balls that floated in the air for a long time, and they've had a couple penalties.
Shamar Brown. The bell cow goes to work again and picks up about 3 yards down to the 22. His 12th carry of the first half, which still has 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
You got to hope he doesn't wear out because it's hot, it's humid. They had the hour delay earlier. That might have screwed with the warm-ups a bit. But the thing with Prep's offense that I was saying earlier is that they've been unlucky. If their luck starts changing like it did with that Pierce Johnson kick return, they could probably start scoring the ball pretty easily.
2nd and about 8 here, I formation. Pernicky will toss to Brown, who has some room, has to cut it back inside. And he'll dive forward for a couple more yards as Dom Rizak was in on the stop. 3rd and 6, and a big 3rd and 6 coming up for the Junior Jays.
We still haven't seen Pernicky scramble, and we thought that we might see a little bit of that because he's one of the fastest quarterbacks that Prep has had in some time. But he's taking his time. Might still be a little bit of an adjustment to the speed of the varsity game, especially starting against the defending state champs. And you got the I formation again, but Pernicky's legs might end up changing the game for Prep if he can get a couple of good scrambles.
Pierce Johnson, the near side receiver. Thomas Leyden on the far side.
Good to see him back in.
Fake the toss again. George Egan runs through the middle, and he takes it to about the 16-yard line. So that's going to bring up 4th and a yard or 2.
Now it's decision time, isn't it?
And it looks like that offense is going to stay out there.
Yeah, Luke Fenton, number 94, he's got his helmet on at about midfield, but he is making no effort to run onto that field, and it does look like they're going to stay out there, and that's an interesting decision because at some points in games like this, it gets to the point where you just want something on the scoreboard that isn't a 0. But Prep's power running has been doing a pretty good job. Maybe they'll continue to do so.
Prep is 1 for 1 on 4th down conversion so far, and Pernicky's going to step out for a moment. Ahead of this 4th and 2, I formation. Give it to Brown, straight ahead. It looks like he's going to have the first down, and indeed he does at the 14. Gain of 3 on the play, and the Junior Jays are 2 for 2 on 4th downs tonight.
Charmar Brown just continues to go right up the middle for good gains.
And a Warrior
injury timeout.
Warrior
it looks
defender
like,
injured in the process. So as Prep continues to try to march to the end zone, we will take a break and be right back on the CP Sports Network. Welcome back to Burke Stadium. Prep and Westside going toe-to-toe here on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Junior Jays trailing the Warriors by 20, but they're knocking on the door here. Just converted a 4th and 2. And now they've got 1st and 10 at the 14-yard line of Westside. They'll go back to the I formation.
And that's still the power formation, too. You've got Leiden, Johnson, and then Egan and Charmar Brown in the backfield. They're just going to keep running this till it doesn't work.
Toss left.
It's working.
Shamar Brown to the end zone. Touchdown, Junior Jays. What a run. He spun and hurdled and took it to the house from 14 yards away. The first touchdown of the 2021 season for the Junior Jays belongs to Shamar Brown.
That was huge. Just a great drive. They just kind of punched Westside in the mouth over and over again. That power formation, Prep might have something with that because those 6 skill position guys basically stayed on the field the entire time, and whenever they needed a big play, they got it. So now Prep's got a chance to cut the deficit to just 13 with 5 minutes to go. And we saw last year, this is a never say die team. They came back from 26 down against Millard West. Compared to that, this is nothing because it's not even halftime yet.
This is Ford Hamilton kicking instead of Fenton. He drills that thing, but it's no good, wide left. So the score will remain 20-6 as Ford Hamilton got the nod, the junior, to try to kick that extra point, but misses to the left. But the Junior Jays are on the board, now trailing by 14 as Shamar Brown has been excellent tonight. He hasn't shown any signs of fatigue.
No, he has not.
Getting the ball as much as he has, and that touchdown run was some kind of display of power and athleticism.
I mean, the spin was just incredible. Looked like he was stood up, and he just basically decided, I'm not done running yet. And he made a great spin to the outside. He's the type of player that Prep really didn't have last year, if I'm being perfectly honest. A guy who can give you a 20-yard run whenever you need it. Stessman was kind of that for Prep last year, but it wasn't consistent. But Charmar Brown looks like he is a force to be reckoned with and will be for some time. Remember, he's only a junior, so he'll be right back in this spot next year. And he's, as you said, he's showing no signs of fatigue. He might be able to keep doing this for all 4 quarters, which would be huge for Prep.
And you can certainly feel with the Prep student section and fans right in front of us between our booth and the field, the momentum starting to even out just a little bit. So if Prep can get good defensive starting field position here and continue to do what they've done on defense, which is really slow down the Westside run game and put pressure on Brown when he's passed, things could get interesting.
The key to momentum is to channel it into your play. And you mentioned put some pressure on Brown. I just think what the defense needs to do is really get some penetration against the offensive line of Westside. If guys like Ryan Carney, Sam Sledge, Michael Barrett continue getting into the Westside backfield all the time, then it's going to be a lot more difficult for Westside to move the ball, and that's exactly what Prep needs with the tide starting to turn just a bit.
So 4:58 remaining until halftime. Warriors have seen their lead trimmed to 14 as they will start at their own 20-yard line. Looks like it's going to be another shotgun formation with Brown and Rezak.
They do like that spread formation. It does look like they got an extra back in the backfield, though.
Brown wants to throw, fires a little curl route, and that pass is low and incomplete. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Intended receiver was the short-handed Grant Guyette, but no chance to bring that one in. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Looks like that was, I think that's Colin Sibernson, number 27, who made a play on that ball. It looked like he had a chance to pick that off for a bit. Ended up just tipping it a little bit, but that might be enough. The Prep defense and Prep offense, they're playing with some renewed energy now after that great return by Pierce Johnson, and that might be enough to turn things around in this game.
2nd and 10. Pitch it. Oh, it's going to be a double pass. Rezak airs it out, and it's incomplete right through the hands of Ty Kiefer, who was wide open. Had a defender trailing him by about 5 yards.
Boy, that is huge for Prep.
It was a duck from Rezak, but it was right on the money. But Kiefer unable to bring it in, and now here we go, 3rd and 10.
Yeah, the luck in the first quarter was all Westside. 2 tipped passes that they were able to pick off. It's starting to turn a little bit because that easily could have made this ball game 27-6. But Prep got burned a little bit. It ends up not mattering. They played with fire, but they're all right. They just got to make sure they don't do that again.
3rd and 10 from the 20. Shotgun for
there's the
Brown.
rush.
Here they come.
Yes,
He's moving backwards, and the pass is incomplete. The Junior Jays defense forced a 3 and out, and now they can get the ball back on offense and potentially make it a one-score game. And
you can hear the fans.
yeah, how about the crowd right in front of us bowing down to that defense? They have been phenomenal thus far.
Should. And that's why stats don't tell the full story in football. You look at the scoreboard right now, you see Westside 20, Prep 6, and you're thinking, well, boy, where's the defense doing? It looks like the offense is being consistent. But the defense, considering what they've had to work with, they've done a phenomenal job here.
So Westside goes 3 and out.
Looks like their punter's running onto the field. That's a, or no, that was the snapper, excuse me. You might want the long snapper in if you're going to punt the ball.
Yep, so here's Martin Mormino to punt.
Perhaps being wary of the fake. You could see the motion, but Prep might have snuffed that out.
And there's a flag thrown by the judge way back, and it's a delay of game.
Oh.
So now Westside's starting to compound some mistakes, much like Prep was doing in that first quarter. And they will be backed up to the 15 for 4th down.
You have to wonder if that motion was meant to be some sort of little flip play or maybe just a toss-out pass or something. But Prep snuffed it out really quickly. You could see, I think it was Michael Barrett and Riley Mahoney, 2 of the defensive backs for Prep. They were doing a great job at making sure that everybody was covered.
So punting from the goal line will be Mormino. Line drive. Angle toward the sideline, and that's going to take a bounce in favor of Prep. And here we go again. The Junior Jays are going to have some excellent starting field position, as that'll be marked out of bounds right near the 40-yard line. Looks like the 42 of Westside. So Prep with a chance to really get things closer now going into the halftime break. Westside does receive the second half kickoff, but Prep already has a lot of momentum on their side from that last drive and then the 3 and out. Here's a chance to really build on it.
And an underrated part of that last drive was Jack Pernicke, because that's his first varsity drive where the team ends up with a score. At least I think. Did they score against Lincoln Northeast? Okay,
yeah,
they did.
Yeah, he had a rushing touchdown against
but
Northeast.
It's his first touchdown drive as a starter, and that could be huge for the quarterback's mentality.
They wanted a shovel pass from Maury. That's a backwards throw as he bounced past it to him. And there's
they're going to call it incomplete.
They're going to say incomplete.
That was Dom Rizek playing on defense. Looked like a little bit of extracurriculars there, and you can hear the Prep fans' displeasure with that. Almost looked like a bounce pass in basketball from Pernicke to Maury, but whatever that play was supposed to be, it looked like it was just blown up from the start.
Yeah, it was a bad snap. It's all dependent on timing, and when Pernicke has to take an extra split second or two to receive a snap off to his side, it's just not going to work out. So 2nd and 10 after the incomplete pass from the 42.
And I'm a little bit surprised that Prep went with a gimmick play to open, because we saw last drive, they didn't use any gimmick plays. It was just straight up the middle, straight up the middle, straight up the middle. They should probably just keep sticking with that until Westside stops it, because, again, they haven't.
Brown dances past one, but he's taken down immediately at the line of scrimmage. That's going to make it 3rd and 10 for the Junior Jays. And
this is one you got to convert, because, or at least get a 6 or 7 yard play, because you're out of field goal range, but you don't want to afford to punt just when it seemed like the momentum was on your side. So I'm thinking maybe a screen pass or some sort of short pass here. If it can't get you to the sticks, it can at least get you close.
3:50 to play until halftime. Junior Jays faced with a 3rd and 10 from the 42. It's going to be a shotgun formation. Shamar Brown to the left of Jack Pernicke.
Looks like Trey Olden's in at slot receiver on the left.
Roll out left.
Olden's open.
Some good blocks. Pernicke fires, and Trey Olden is there for the catch. 1st down, Junior Jays on a gain of 17.
Huge play there. Trey Olden came in just right off the bench. That's his first snap of the game. But this Prep team, I kept being told by coaches and players, we are a deep, deep team, especially at the skill position. We got a lot of guys who can make plays, and Trey Olden shows you there. He's one of those guys who can make plays. Great throw by Pernicke on the rollout, too.
Yep, that's his first completion of the game, and it was a good one.
And now Prep's knocking on the door again.
I formation, 1st and 10 from the 25. Here's a toss to Brown. Makes one man miss. Going to get a push. Sledge is in there trying to push him forward.
He's so fast, he's running into his own blockers.
It's gained a 3 for Shamar Brown. That's going to bring up 2nd and 7. Boy, he's some kind of workhorse.
And Brown especially, I mentioned his consistency earlier, but it's just the fact that he keeps going into the line, keeps churning away for those extra yards. It doesn't look like he's going to get fatigued. It's a question of, at this point, if Prep keeps going with the power run, who's going to break first, and it doesn't look like it's going to be Sharmar Brown.
2nd and 7 from the 22.
Got the power formation with Stessman in.
Yep, Stessman seeing his first action in quite some time. Fake the toss to him. Give it to the fullback again. Look at Egan pinballing his way inside the 20 down to the 18.
George Egan is a big dude.
Yep, gain of 4 on the play. That's going to set up 3rd and 3, so Prep can go either way with this one. Not a true passing situation.
Holden's coming back in, and it looks like that is Egan coming out, so it does look like they're going to go with more of a...
They're going to bring Johnson off instead.
Oh.
Yep, they had Egan coming out for a moment, but he will stay in there. Stessman is going to continue as the running back, so Shamar Brown getting a little bit of an extended break. I formation again, 3rd and 3.
And you can see Westside's really focused in on that line. That leaves one-on-one coverage if Prep wants it. And you can see Pernicke's looking at the sidelines, maybe trying to decide if they want to take a shot here. Better get the snap off, though.
They'll call a timeout. Timeout Junior Jays with 1:35 remaining until halftime. And Prep, both of their last 2 drives have started with really nice field position. Their last one started at the Westside 25 after the big kick return from Pierce Johnson. It finished in the end zone on the Shamar Brown 14-yard touchdown run. And then this one on the backwards bouncing punt from Martin Mormino. Prep started at the 40 of Westside, and they've already converted a couple times, 3rd and 4th down, and now here they are at the 18 with a 3rd and 3 coming up.
Another big-time play, but the nice thing is they've got the kickers in Luke Fenton and Ford Hamilton. Even if they don't necessarily get it here, a field goal still makes this a touchdown and a field goal game if you get the 2-point conversion. I'm sure they'd like a touchdown, but the momentum has shifted to the point where, especially if they can get 2 stops in a row, both the next Westside drive and the Westside drive after halftime, that a field goal is not by any means a failure for this drive.
Prep 2 of 8 on 3rd downs to this point. Shotgun formation.
They're
Stessman
spreading it out
to the left of Pernicke. Stessman straight ahead, pushing, turning the
close.
legs.
He's got it.
He fell forward, and he's got the 1st down. So Creighton Prep continues to succeed on 3rd and 4th and short situations. And they're inside the 15 of Westside, 1st and 10 at the 14.
And that 3rd and short that you mentioned Prep continues to succeed in, it's so important because they've got such powerful backs. Sharmar Brown is 205 pounds. Jack Stessman is 185, but he's only 5'11", so he carries a lot more weight on that frame of his. Prep's just got so many powerful runners who can get you those yard or two, the extra yard or two that you need in those situations.
A minute to play until halftime. Stessman again is going to be stopped this time right around the line of scrimmage.
Prep's only got about 1 timeout left. They got to be careful that they don't run out of time here, because obviously you want to balance things between not giving Westside enough time to score before halftime and potentially get a 2 drives for 1 deal, but you also don't want to just run out of time and end up with a 26 halftime score when it could be at least 20-9 or maybe even 20-14.
It looks like Prep is going to take that final timeout right now. The clock frozen at 47 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. The Junior Jays are nearing 100 rushing yards. It's been interesting the last several matchups we've seen between Prep and Westside. The story has been Westside just running the ball straight down Prep's throat with guys like Cole Payton and Rezak and Avante Dickerson and Kobe Brents. But tonight, the Warriors have 9 carries for 25 yards. Junior Jays have 24 for 85 on the ground. It's been quite a difference with how these 2 teams have played.
Well, you mentioned that Prep found the identity of a running team, and they are certainly milking that identity for all it is worth. The biggest part, though, is it's been successful. You can't really be a running team if you get 1.5 yards a carry. You can be a running team if you get 3-4 yards a carry, and that's what Prep's doing tonight. They've got that power formation back in. It's Leiden, Johnson, Egan, and Stessman with Piernicke under center. The nice thing is they've got like a couple of different running backs that this could work with, so they can just keep running this power formation as long as they want.
My apologies, Prep did not call a timeout. It was an injury timeout for an injured Westside defender, so it's going to be second and...
I could have sworn it was a Prep timeout.
No, it was on the far side of the field, so it's tough to see
I
from
didn't
here.
see it.
It's going to be second and 10. I formation, 56 seconds on the clock. Pernicke rolls right. He's going to float one up to the end zone, and...
That's a touchdown.
It is incomplete.
Oh!
Incomplete. Just barely unable to get his foot in bounds was Cade Salmons, the tight end.
I don't know about that call. I thought I could see some white paint. Oh, just when you thought the momentum was really about to flip, too. That is tough.
So it's going to be third and 10 from the 15-yard line. Prep has already converted on one of these third and 10s when Pernicke made a great throw rolling out to the left, a 17-yard completion to Trey Olden earlier on this drive.
Well, now you just need another one of those great throws, don't you?
So the receiving core will consist of Leiden and Pierce Johnson, and then the tight end is still Cade Salmons.
And Egan is to the left of Pernicke in the backfield. Now that looks more like a passing block.
There goes Shamar Brown.
Yep,
watch out. Floating it up. Brown's wide open, but it's just out of his reach and incomplete.
Looked
Boy,
like
that
a
was a
good play. But
yeah, that was a great play design.
Just a little rushed. I think it was R.J. Gunderson coming in from the blitz on the right side of Pernicke and hurried the throw just enough. And Prep back-to-back plays, inches away from a score, but coming away with nothing. Now you really need to make sure this kick goes in for Ford Hamilton because he did already miss that extra point.
He did. Had plenty of leg on it, but missed it left. So with 44 seconds left, it's going to be what looks like a 32-yard field goal attempt for the junior Ford Hamilton. Trying to make it an 11-point game. Snap good, hold good. He line drives it this time and misses it left again. So Ford Hamilton misses an extra point and a field goal, and Westside able to get out of that drive without allowing any points.
And that is just a huge, huge missed opportunity for Prep. You've got 3 straight plays that probably could have been scores, but ended up being none of them. And you have to wonder what's up with Luke Fenton because you mentioned in the pregame he's the 23rd ranked kicker, according to, was it Cole's Kicking Camp?
Well, 23rd ranked punter. He's a 4.5-star punter, or 4.5-star kicker, 5-star punter from Cole's Kicking.
But you'd figure, like, a 4.5-star kicker, Prep would at least give him a chance to see what he can do because that's now 4 points that they've left on the board. And that really is the difference between you need 2 touchdowns to tie and you need 2 touchdowns to win.
Let's see how aggressive Westside is. 1 timeout remaining, 40 seconds on the clock. First and 10 from the 20. They run it up the middle with Rezak, and he's going to pick up about 7 yards. And doesn't look like Westside is in too much of a hurry here. Just going to let this clock wind a little bit. 25 now on it. It'll be second and 3 from the 27.
Well, it does make a little bit of sense that they're not trying to hurry this because we've seen a couple of underthrows and overthrows from Colby Brown. And if you try to go deep here, there's a chance it could get intercepted. And you don't want to give Prep new life after you avoided almost certain disaster with Prep's possession in the red zone last time. So, yeah, they're just going to take it to halftime.
First half is in the books. Westside 20, Creighton Prep 6. We'll be back for the second half here on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Big-time rivalry should only get better in the final 24 minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Burke Stadium as we get set to begin the second half of this top 10 rivalry matchup between 7th-ranked Creighton Prep and 2nd-ranked Omaha Westside. Tyler Reedy and Brendan Preisman here with you on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. And Brendan, that was quite the interesting first half. It wasn't necessarily the traditional Westside sees Prep, Westside destroys Prep type of game that we've been used to over the last 3 years. Yeah, but momentum was just about 50-50 as we ended the first half.
It helps when both the quarterbacks are playing about equal, which is about equal to say not quite very well. Jack Piernicki and Colby Brown, 2 seniors, both making their first varsity starts, have combined to go 3 of 19 in the first half for 1 touchdown and 2 picks. But all 3 of those come with qualifiers. Brown's touchdown was to Dominic Rizak, who could probably score from just about anywhere on the field, and both of Piernicki's interceptions were tipped passes. So the quarterback play has been spotty for sure, but that's not why the score is what it is. The score is what it is because of the Prep defense. It looked like Prep was going to come out and just roll over for Westside like they did last year, and like you mentioned, it wasn't the traditional game. And it hasn't followed the script of what people have expected Prep Westside to be for the past couple of years because of the defense. The line has done a great job getting penetration. The defensive backs really haven't allowed anybody to get open, and except for that 1 lapse in the first quarter where Rizak broke free, they've done a great job.
So scoring summary of that first half, Dom Rizak caught a 22-yard touchdown pass from Colby Brown on Westside's first drive. That made it 7-0. And then a pick-6 interception return for a touchdown by Teddy Rizak made it 14-0. And then a couple field goals made by Tristan Alvano. That put it at 20-0. And then Creighton Prep was able to get on the board with a 14-yard touchdown run from Shamar Brown, who has been an interesting story in this first half. 16 carries, 57 yards, and a touchdown. We kind of expected coming into the season that Stessman would be the lead guy, but Shamar Brown has really impressed. He's taken on the workload quite easily and quite well tonight.
And he's impressed so much because of his speed. Like we saw in that 14-yard touchdown run, and a lot of other runs as well. He is just a speedy back. He's almost on the Dominic Rizak level of a guy who can hurt you inside and a guy who can hurt you outside. I mean, if he doesn't get a lot more carries in this second half, I would be shocked. He could easily finish this game with 25 to 30 carries because they're working. You mentioned in our podcast that we did earlier today, you can find that on this YouTube page as well, but you mentioned that Prep struggled to find an identity last year. It only took them about a quarter to find their identity this year, and that is, we are a power-running team. We are going to bring a fullback and 2 receivers in, and we are going to run the ball down your throat until you stop us. And in the second quarter, Westside couldn't really stop them. They scored a touchdown, missed the extra point, and then came very close to scoring another. But this 14-point deficit is by no means insurmountable. Prep had started to turn the tide before the end of the first half, and if their defense can get a stop to open up this third quarter, it's reasonable to assume that Prep could get right back in this game extremely quickly.
So Westside will be receiving the second half kickoff here. We got about a minute and 10 seconds left until we put the toe to the letter and get the second half ready to go. But Westside leads 20-6 over Creighton Prep, and it was really an ugly start for the Junior Jays, like you said. It looked like it might just be one of those traditional Prep Westside games, at least the ones we've seen since we have been high schoolers, of Prep just getting absolutely manhandled by the Warriors. You know, early penalties cost the Junior Jays, some unlucky tip drill interceptions cost them, but the defense stepped up, the run game stepped up, and Pierce Johnson, how about the catalyst he was with that big kick return to turn a 20-0 game to a 26 game by giving the Junior Jays great field position. So a lot of different factors in play, as always, between these two rivals, and we'll see what the momentum looks like to begin the second half. Brennan, any last thoughts before we kick it off?
You mentioned the Pierce Johnson great kick return. I think that was the big momentum shift, because not only did Prep force a Westside punt, but then they also got really good field position out of it, and they were able to score. So if the defense is able to keep getting stops, there is no reason to say that Prep won't come away from this game with a victory.
So we'll see who kicks this ball off for Prep to start the second half. It's been a little bit of a kicker carousel so far in this one, as Luke Fenton has handled the place-kicking kickoff duties, but Ford Hamilton, the junior, has tried an extra point and a field goal and missed both wide left. As Westside Gets their special teams unit back out on the field. Prep does the same, and it is going to be Fenton kicking off from the 40.
And you mentioned the kicking issues for Prep. Those missed points could get bigger and bigger as this game goes along because both the defenses, for the most part, have started to figure it out. And Westside's defense, you could say, they haven't quite figured it out yet. But those 4 missed points could end up being the difference between a win and a loss for Prep because their defense is playing well. If they keep playing like they did in the second quarter, Westside might not score again, but you got to get some points on offense.
Luke Fenton gets us underway with the second half kickoff. It's going to bounce into the end zone. Smart play by Grant Guyette to let that trickle over the goal line, and the Warriors will begin at their own 20-yard line with 1st and 10. And Dom Rizak, he was good out in space. We saw it with the touchdown. He generated a lot of missed tackles early on in that first quarter, but on the ground, Prep stifled him pretty well. 10 carries for 33 yards, and Colby Brown 2 for 8 passing to 32 yards and a touchdown to Rizak. We did not see Brown try to run the ball at all. So we'll see what the Warriors look like to open up the second half, as they'll have Rizak in the backfield once again, and they'll go with Brown under center, offset I formation. 3 receivers in the game, 2 to the near side. And they'll start, not surprisingly, with a handoff to Rizak, and different half, same story. He gets pushed way back. Forward progress will mark him at the line of scrimmage, so it'll be 2nd and 10.
Mick Tabor coming in there, the junior. He is built like a tree trunk, 5'9", 185 pounds, or no, 180 pounds, sorry. All of it is muscle, and you could see that he got the penetration there very quickly, and that's a great way to start off this defensive series for Prep.
Now Brown gonna throw.
Here they come.
Here's the pressure. The pass is on target to the outside. Grant Guyette makes the catch for the first down, taking it to the 37. Pickup of 17 on the pitch and catch. First down, Westside.
Prep's got to do a little bit better on those passing plays. One of the keys to the first half when Prep started getting stops was the fact that either Brown didn't have time to throw, or when he did, his receivers were covered well. You can't leave a guy that wide open on 2nd and long.
First catch of the game for Grant Guyette. As that handoff up the middle will go for about 3 yards. As that was Rizak once again, his 12th carry of the night. And it'll be 2nd and 7 from the 40.
Prep's still doing a good job at quieting Rizak. You mentioned he broke a lot of tackles that first drive, but he hasn't been able to get out in space since, and a key to that has been the Prep front 7 stopping him.
They run it up the middle once more, and Prep once again pushing the Warriors backwards, as that was Rizak only able to get a yard, and now it's going to be 3rd and 6. Chance for the Junior Jays to get off the field quickly.
And this is a big, big play for Prep. If they want to keep the momentum that they had at the end of the first half, a stop here and an authoritative one is the best way to do it. You can see the front 4s lining up. Only about 2 linebackers, a lot of defensive backs on the field, but I wouldn't be surprised if Prep sent some pressure here.
Brown in the gun, Rizak to his left. Roll out left, and the throw to the sideline is going to be caught. Grant Guyette working toward the sideline just past midfield. That's another first down, as Guyette has come out with a couple big catches on this opening second half drive for Westside.
Westside got a really favorable matchup there too. It was Guyette, the senior receiver, 6'1", 186, against Michael Barrett, the linebacker. Barrett's only 5'11", and he's fast, but he couldn't quite keep up with Guyette there. And that's where the absence of Jonah Moore is going to hurt the Junior Jays, because he is a tall, fast corner. Perfect guy to guard Guyette. He's out tonight.
Westside entering Prep territory. They've got it 1st and 10 on the 48. Here comes Carney with pressure again. Brown's pass is low to the outside, but it is going to be incomplete. So initially it was ruled a catch, but...
no, I think they are saying it's a catch.
Well, the far side official came in and said a catch, but then the official running from Prep's defensive side said incomplete, and they are going to rule it incomplete. So 2nd and 10 coming up.
Ryan Carney's had a lot of good pressure. He was one of the guys who helped turn around the Millard West game last year with a fumble recovery that he took back to the house, and he's done a great job at making life miserable for Colby Brown tonight.
Offset I formation, play action. Brown rolls left, throws on the run to the sideline, and that pass is going to be incomplete. Looked like that was Kyle Munt in there along with Michael Palmazzano. Prep secondary able to close well on that pass to the sideline, and it's going to be 3rd and 10. And it looked like Guyette was once again the intended target.
Prep doing a good job now figuring out Guyette. They really can't leave one of their shorter corners or even one of their linebackers one-on-one with him, so the safeties and other linebackers are doing a good job helping. And now it's 3rd down. Big play here.
3 receivers to the far side. Brown going to fire that way, and Guyette is wide open. He is going to move the chains and take it down to the 31-yard line of Prep. Gain of 17 and another Westside first down provided by number 3.
This is the exact opposite of what Prep wanted. They wanted to get a good momentum-building stop. Instead, Westside's going on a momentum-killing drive, just first down after first down on 3rd and medium or 3rd and long. I want to know why Guyette's still open. Why are they not double covering the guy? He's the only guy that Colby Brown has really looked at all half.
Handoff out of the gun. This is Rezak picking up 3 yards, and Guyette on this drive alone, 3 catches for 45 yards, and all 3 of those catches have gained first downs.
And Prep's got a player down on the other side. It looks like it's Caden Russell. He got tangled up with a Westside receiver at the end of that play, and he is down.
So the junior Caden Russell will be looked at prior to this 2nd and 7 for Westside, and we will be right back on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Caden Russell fortunately able to walk off on his own power, as Westside will have a 2nd and 7 from the Junior Jays 28-yard line. And the story of this drive so far, if you're just joining us, has been the wide receiver Grant Guyette. He was held without a catch in the first half, but on this drive he has 3 grabs for 45 receiving yards, and all 3 of those catches have gained first downs.
He's been a key guy. He was pretty quiet in the first half. I think he only had 1 target, couldn't manage to bring that one in. But this second half, they've really started exploiting the height differential that he's got with a lot of these Prep corners.
2nd and 7. Colby Brown in the shotgun, Rezak to his left. And he's going to look to throw. Here comes the pressure. Brown sidesteps it well. He's going to fire on the run, and it is incomplete. Looked like he had a man open. The throw
Prep's
was
got
a little
2
bit
guys
low.
down. It
Oh, boy.
Looked like they both got shoved in the back. There's been a lot of iffy, in my opinion, blocks that could easily be called penalties.
And one of them is Sledge.
That is very bad.
Sam Sledge.
And the other one's Marcelino, I think the other
Oh,
key junior on that defensive line. And you got to wonder what the Prep coaching staff feels about this, because it looked like both Sledge and Marcelino had angles. They both went down because they were touched from behind. And that's not the first time we've seen a Prep defensive lineman seemingly get penetration and then get shoved down from behind.
Sam Sledge and Rocco Marcelino are injured. These are 2 of the key aspects of Prep's strength of offensive and defensive line play. These are 2 guys that had experience last year, started last year, and they can just maul guys on the offensive line with blocks and then flip it over and play on the defensive line as well. But
you
now,
really got to hope these are just cramps or something, because long-term injuries to these star juniors on the lines really are the exact last thing that Prep can afford. And these no calls, because in my opinion, that's what they are.
Sledge tried to get up and had to go back down.
Looks like a left leg with him.
So they continue to work on Sledge and Marcelino. We'll take a quick break on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Back here at Burke Stadium on the Creighton Prep Sports Network, Sam Sledge and Rocco Marcelino fortunately able to walk off the field both on their own power as Westside gets set for a 3rd and 7 from the Junior Jays 28. And for a Prep fan, you got to hope that this is just something minor, because these are two of the most key players on this Junior Jays team.
Especially considering how the defense has already been decimated by injuries already. Caden Russell had to leave the game. Jonah Moore is out already. Devine Bailey, one of the linebackers, he's out. He's on crutches. You just got to hope everybody's going to be okay.
Direct snap to Rezak on 7. So Prep loses 2 of their best defensive linemen.
Joe Keeney.
But Joe Keeney comes in and says, how about me? So that's a huge stop for Prep. It's going to be 4th down and about 9 from the 30. And this is a pretty long field goal try.
This is probably about 40, 45, 46 yards. This is by no means a chip shot for Westside. And that extra momentum boost that Prep got from that Keeney tackle, that'll be multiplied about tenfold if Westside's able to miss this.
8:15 left in the 3rd quarter. 47-yard try coming up for Tristan Alvano, who is 2 for 2 on field goals tonight. He's hit from 32 and 33. Kick on the way, and it is good again.
What a boot from
Tristan Alvano having
Holy
a night.
Cow.
And it's 23-6 Westside.
That looked like it would have been good from about 52. And the key to that kick is now Prep needs more than 2 touchdowns to come back and tie this game. And the 2-point conversions won't work either because they're down 17, not 16.
It looks like there's another Junior J limping off.
Looks like it's A.J. Jones, another
Jones,
junior defensive back.
Boy, Prep really getting hit hard by injuries tonight.
And if you're keeping up with the Elkhorn South game, a lot of Elkhorn South players have apparently gone off on cramps to the point that the Millard West student section has started a drink some water chant. But you got to hope this is just the humidity and not something more serious, because this is Prep's home stadium. If this is what it does to their players every night, they're not going to have a roster come week 10.
Sledge and Marcelino are walking around on their own power on the sideline, which is good to see. As Alvano will tee it up and get set to kick it away. Warriors now up by 17, 23-6 after the made field goal from 47 yards out. 7:57 remaining in quarter number 3. Pierce Johnson, Aiden Morey once again back for the return. Johnson took one 67 yards from the 8 to the Westside 25 in the 2nd quarter. Here's Alvano's kick.
That's returnable.
Yeah, it's angled towards
that might
Johnson,
go out of bounds.
And it's going to be out of bounds. So Johnson alertly lets it go out of bounds, and that is going to give Prep pretty good advantage in terms of starting field position as the flag is thrown.
That's a great way to start off the drive, too, because now you get pretty good field position without having to really do anything. Yeah, that's going to be all the way up to the Prep 35. That is huge and a great way to start off their first offensive drive of the half.
So now it's going to be interesting to see. Prep has been a team that has tried to run the ball down Westside's throat all night, but now they're missing 2 of their best offensive linemen in Sledge and Marcelino.
And then there's another lineman, it looks like, getting stretches down on the track by the sideline as well. So the water consumption at this point becomes really important.
Here's the first run of the game for Pernicke, and he's got some room across midfield to the Westside 40. So we've been waiting for it all night. Finally, Pernicke calls his own number and gets a big gain out of it. 25 yards on the first down.
Yeah, we mentioned, I kept talking about, Jack Pernicke's such a good runner, they should use him, and they weren't using him. Well, second half might be time to break out some of the new tricks from the playbook, and that worked very well. A huge, looks like, 25-yard run to open up things for Jack Pernicke. And now Westside's got a man down as if they didn't already have enough to deal with on defense. Everybody
this
is dropping. You
brutal
do
to
have to
see.
wonder if this is just the cramping.
Yeah, that's Tom Rezak, too. Man, it's just brutal to see so many guys going down tonight. And such a big rivalry game. You want to have as many guys out there, the big players making big plays. And it's just unfortunate to see so many of these guys going down. And hopefully, as we've been saying, these are just minor minor things, but Prep will have 1st and 10 on the Westside 40 after the 25-yard Pernicke run, his first carry of the night.
And you do hope that everybody's going to be okay, as you said. Like, maybe these are just cramps, but again, you just hope that these are all nothing serious. You can see Sledge walking around, Marcelino's walking around. Looks like the lineman that was stretching earlier, I think that might be Kyer James. It looks like he's back on his feet as well.
Christian Lewis.
Oh, Christian Lewis,
yep,
my apologies.
Christian Lewis is, at 70 in blue down there.
But they're all walking, which is good.
1st and 10. It's a stretch play for Shamar Brown, and he angles down to the 38 for a gain of 2. That'll make it 2nd and 8 for Prep.
He's had no trouble staying up. What is that, carry number 17 for him?
17. Oh, and just as you say that, he's
Are
down.
you kidding me?
Wow.
I should just stop talking. Shouldn't I?
Holy smokes.
Good grief.
So Shamar Brown down on the far side of the field after a 2-yard pickup on 1st down. And we'll be right back on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Welcome back. 2nd and 8 for Prep at the Westside 38 as Shamar Brown makes his way off the field by his own power, which is good to see. Boy, players are just dropping like flies tonight.
I mean,
it's a hot, humid night.
It is 9:51 p.m. It is 82 degrees right now. Feels like 90 with 66% humidity, and the wind's under 10 miles an hour. So there is no relief for these players. And when you consider that they had an abbreviated warm-up due to the rain.
Fake the toss, give it to Egan up the middle, but this time Westside was ready for it. It's going to be no gain on the play, making it 3rd and 8 at the 38-yard line. And Trey Olden's going to come in to replace Egan on this passing situation.
Does look like it's 3rd and 9, and Luke Fenton's got a powerful leg. So does Ford Hamilton. At this point, it might be a toss-up for Prep. Like, if you're forced to take a field goal here, do you just flip a coin and send one of them out there?
3rd and 8. Pernicke in the gun. And he's going to give it to Stessman, trying to surprise the Warriors. They're going to lose a few yards as Stessman was taken down awkwardly back at the 41. No penalty called, though. And it's going to be 4th and 11 from the 41.
And you can hear the Prep fans chanting their displeasure with that call. I'm inclined to agree with them because that's now the 2nd time that we've had a dangerous play that could have easily resulted in a Prep player getting injured. Oh, it does look like they're throwing the flag.
And
that was late, but
meanwhile, Cole Jarrett was a little bit shaken up. He's hobbling off, so Prep is now down 4 of their starting offensive linemen, at least for this next play. 1st and 10 from the Westside 26.
Who's the 4th guy? I know
Lewis, Sledge, Marcelino, and now Jarrett.
Oh, Lewis was a starter. I
Yep.
didn't realize that. Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, and those are 3 guys that I had start as potential impact players in the pregame prep for the Junior Jays as well. So that is a big problem. But now it's 1st and 10. Prep knocking on the door again.
Yep.
And now they don't have that time constraint that they did at the end of the first half. So they got plenty of time to just do whatever they want.
So Prep gifted a 1st down by that 15-yard penalty from Westside. They've now got it 1st and 10 at the 26. Pernicke will go under center, I formation with Egan and Stessman in the backfield.
Westside's got a lot of guys in the box.
Egan straight ahead, not much doing that time, and he'll pick up about a yard to the 25, making it 2nd and 9.
It's becoming pretty obvious what the halftime talk in the Warriors locker room was about. Stop the runs up the middle, and they've been doing a good job at that. Holes that were there in the first half for guys like George Egan and Charmar Brown aren't there anymore, and it's becoming a lot tougher for Prep to break free and get those 4 or 5 yard gains. Speaking of Brown, he is walking under his own power, holding his helmet in one hand and a Gatorade bottle in the other. He looks like he should be good to go at some point if Prep needs to call on him again. Westside showing a lot of pressure here.
2nd and 9. Pernicke's going to air it out toward the end zone. There's some contact. It is incomplete for Leiden.
Unbelievable. Where's the flag?
No call. Incomplete, intended for Leiden. And it's going to be 3rd and 9 for the Junior Jays.
And you can see that the coaching staff definitely trusts Pernicke with shots like that, because ordinarily with a guy making his first varsity start, you don't want him to try and take a one-on-one fade route shot on 2nd and 9. But with Pernicke, he's been with the program for years and years, and he knows what they expect of him, and he's able to do it.
Pernicke in the gun. Stessman to his left on 3rd and 9. They'll try to run it again, and again, Westside is all over it. So it's going to be 4th and 9 at the 25 for Prep. And twice they've tried to fool the Warriors with draw plays on 3rd and long, and Westside has said absolutely not.
And it looks like they're going for it. Neither Luke Fenton, number 94, nor Ford Hamilton, number 95, appear as though they're making any effort to go and run onto that field.
Indeed, they are going to go for it. 4th and 9.
This is a big play. You can see that Westside's dropping a lot more guys back than they normally do. They're clearly expecting the pass, so Prep's got to be really careful to make a good throw.
Pernicke rolls right, fires. That's nowhere near the line to gain, and it's incomplete anyway. Westside will take over.
Leiden's down again. He went down in the first half with a chest injury. At least we thought it was a chest injury. He was holding his upper body, and now he's down again. And it doesn't look like he's going to get up anytime soon.
Westside will take over 1st and 10 at the 25 while they tend to Thomas Leiden. We'll be right back on the CP Sports Network. Welcome back to Berg Stadium. Westside turning Prep over on downs at the 25-yard line. They'll have 1st and 10, leading by 17.
And you can kind of feel the momentum start to shift back in the favor of the Warriors now. Looked like it was going to be all Prep heading into halftime. Instead, they couldn't come away with any points. And Westside got a field goal on their opening drive and then got a stop here. Plus, the Prep players are just dropping like flies.
Rezak on the carry. He's taken down after a gain of a yard. That was John Pargo hitting him low to make the stop. 2nd and 9 coming up. 4:30 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
You mentioned Pargo made the stop. He's another guy that we kind of expected to see in the backfield that we really haven't, because Charmar Brown was basically monopolizing the carries. He's 5'11", 180. He's even more of a speedster than Brown is, but he's making a mark on defense even if he can't on offense.
2nd and 9 from the 26. Brown in the gun. Sets up to throw, firing to the outside. There's Gaetti, makes the catch, curls to the outside, and it looks like he is going to have the 1st down. And indeed he does, up at the 37. Gain of 11 on the play, and Westside turning to all reliable Grant Gaetti. He was a big part of their passing game last year, and doing it again here in the 3rd quarter.
At this point, Prep's really got to consider just doubling Grant Gaetti, because aside from Rezak, he's clearly Westside's only offensive threat right now. And if they can't manage to stop him, they're not going to stop Westside. And if they're not going to stop Westside, they have no chance to win this game.
1st and 10, 37-yard line. Westside going with the offset eye, 2 receivers to the far side. As Brown will hand it off, this is Jamez Ross with some space to the outside. The backup breaking tackles and getting close to another first down. He's about 2 yards shy. 8-yard gain takes him out to the 45.
We talked a little bit in the first half about how Prep's running backs room was so deep and talented. But Westside's got a pretty solid running backs room themselves. Obviously, Rizek didn't take that carry, but Jamez Ross, the sophomore, did. And you could see the speed and the shiftiness there. And at some point here, you got to wonder when the clock becomes a factor, because we've only got about 3 minutes left in the third quarter, which means 15 minutes to go in the game. And Prep's down 17, and they haven't shown that they can stop Westside when they need to yet in this third quarter.
2nd and 2, Westside going with the offset eye once again. And they'll turn and give, no, it's a play fake, fooled me. Brown going deep down the field, and it's just over the head of Guyette, and that'll bring up 3rd and 2, and another Junior J is slow to get up. That's Cole Jarrett. Unfortunately, he's able to be held back to his feet. 3rd down coming up for Westside.
Good coverage there by Riley Mahoney on Guyette. Mahoney is only 5'10", so Guyette's got a couple of inches on him, but he did a good job to stay with him and force the overthrow.
Big 3rd down defensively for Prep. 2:41 left in the third quarter. Looks like a direct snap here coming to Rizak. He's going to go left. He's going to cut back. He's going to get the first down and drag a defender across midfield to the Junior Jays 47. Gain of 8 on the Wildcat play and a first down.
Dom Rizak is just so incredibly talented. You saw there, it looked like he was going to go left. Then he saw that they were going to bottle him up there, so he changed direction, burst of speed, got the first down. He's been the guy to stop for Prep. And they did a pretty good job of it in the second quarter, but so far in this third quarter, not as well. And that's why they're still down 17 points, now nearing only 2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Jamez Ross will take Rizak's place in the backfield for 1st and 10. Offset eye again for the Warriors. Brown hands off, but not before a penalty flag is thrown. That's a false start on the Warriors, and that'll back them up onto their own side of midfield.
Big opportunity here for Prep. This is now going to be, I think, 1st and 15 for Westside. And if they can continue to stop the run with Rizak like they've been doing for the most part and force some more incompletions, they'll be able to get the ball back to their offense and do it in a timely manner too, because that is becoming rapidly important.
1st and 15, Warriors at their own 48-yard line. So rolling with the offset eye formation again. Play action. Brown rolling left. He's in trouble.
Oh baby!
My goodness! Was Colby Brown ever decked? A huge hit on the play.
Looks like that's Joe Keeney again.
Joe Keeney once again. He is making his mark on this game as Brown tried to reverse his field and make a cutback.
The depth of Prep. The depth of Prep just continues to show itself. That's a loss of 14, and finally, for the first time, Colby Brown is sacked. That's what Prep needed. That could be the big momentum changer. We're nearing a minute to go in the third quarter, and that clock is a factor. But now it's really a passing down for Westside, and that's not a situation they want to be in.
2nd and 29. Gee, you think it's a passing down? Warriors are way backed up here at their own 34. Brown looking to air one out. Floater down the sideline for Guyette, and again it is overthrown. Running stride for stride with him was Riley Mahoney. 3rd and 29 coming up.
This is an interesting scenario for a defensive coordinator here, because what do you do? You know they're probably going to pass the ball. So do you just play it safe, make sure that Grant Guyette can't get open and drop 8? Or do you say, you know what, my defensive line's better than their offensive line. I'm going to send like 5 or 6 guys and see if I can get another sack. In my opinion, I'd probably send like 5 or 6 guys and just hope that they can get to Colby Brown before he has a chance to make a good throw, but you never know.
3rd and a country mile from the 34. The Warriors need 29 yards.
Oh!
Brown stepping up, deep down the field. It's intercepted at the 33. Picked off on the play by John Pargo, and the Junior Jays will take over.
Huge play for Prep there. They finally get a turnover. we kept saying that the turnover battle was going to be the key for Prep. If they could win that, they could win the game. If they're not winning that turnover battle, they weren't before that, they aren't now, but they're digging a lot closer to winning that, which means they're digging a lot closer to winning the game, and now the birdcage is up again. That's exactly what Prep needed.
So now, with 52 seconds left in the third quarter, Prep takes over on their own 33, and this is a huge drive, not just with the clock where it's at, but Prep just picked up some momentum. Got to try to build on it and mount a comeback. 1st and 10. Shamar Brown is back in the game.
It's good to see.
Yep, it's going to be a direct snap to Stessman. Stessman with Brown to his left. Stessman will keep it himself and go up the middle, and that's going to get some good yardage out to the 38 for a gain of 5. And that'll bring up 2nd and 5. So
Prep's basically saying to Westside, hey, anything you can do, we can do just as well.
And Prep's got another injury on the offensive line.
Good grief.
Quite sure who it is. We've already seen Sledge, Marcelino, Lewis, and Jarrett all go at least somewhat down with cramps. Jarrett
came back in, though.
Yeah, he limped off, though, after another couple plays. But Prep's got another player down. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 38 when we come back. Welcome back. Prep has 2nd and 5 from the 38-yard line, and it was not an offensive lineman who was injured on the play. That was Cade Sammons, fortunately able to walk off the field on his own power. And Prep set up with 2nd and 5.
Big chance here for either a power run or a play-action pass to really continue building that momentum back. Only 30 seconds to go in this third quarter.
Westside is loading the box. Here's a toss to Shamar Brown. He somehow gets through the hole, but not much more thereafter as he's spilled at the 38 for no gain, and Prep's going to have a big 3rd down coming up. Call it 3rd and 4 from the 39 as they'll give Brown a yard.
They might just let this go to the 4th quarter because that will give them more time to think it over. There's only 7 seconds left, 6, 5.
They're not going to get a snap.
Yeah, it's the 4th quarter. This is where heroes are made, and Prep's going to have a real chance, especially this senior class. Jack Piernicki, Jack Stessman, the rest of those seniors on that offensive line and at those skill positions. They will have a real chance to make themselves legends if they're able to win this game.
The 4s go up. We're headed to the final quarter. Westside 23, Creighton Prep 6. We'll be right back. Stay tuned on the Creighton Prep Sports Network. Welcome back to Burke Stadium. 4th quarter about set to get underway between 7th-ranked Creighton Prep and 2nd-ranked Omaha Westside. Warriors leading the Junior Jays 23-6, and Prep is faced with an important 3rd down and 4 at their own 39-yard line. Tyler Reedy and Brendan Prizeman here with you to give you the final quarter of action on this opening night.
We got the power formation, and that's a new receiver, though. Is that Pierce Johnson?
It is at the bottom.
Okay, it is. I couldn't see the number there. But here we go, third down. Big time play.
Play action. Fooled the Warriors D-line pretty well, and Pernicke's pass is swatted away, incomplete. Trying to get it on a corner out to Thomas Leiden.
Great play there by the senior linebacker, R.J. Gunderson, leaping up there to make the play. And it looks like Prep's going to punt. They do think they have enough time. 11:54 to go. They think they have enough time to punt it here. And I agree with them, but at some point you have to consider the ramifications of giving the ball back to Westside, because Westside was just long drive after long drive in that third quarter. It took forever. And giving the ball back to them when you haven't really been able to get quick stops seems like a potentially dangerous thing.
So on fourth down, Luke Fenton will punt from just inside his own 30. Line drive, it's going to bounce, and it's going to take a very nice bounce in favor of Prep, but be picked up by Rezak, and he's tackled fairly quickly just across the 20 at the 22, and that is where Westside will begin their first drive of the fourth quarter. And you know, for the Junior Jays defensively, it's been painfully slow. As you mentioned, the Warriors have just slowly but surely marched their way down the field. They've only gotten 3 points out of their drive so far, but the biggest key has been the time taken off the clock.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Just 16 seconds into the fourth quarter. Prep definitely relying on their defense to try to get a quick stop and get off the field in a hurry.
And the key here is quick stop. They don't necessarily need to force a turnover, but they need to get a 3 and out or a 6 and out or something. They cannot let Westside march the ball down the field.
Colby Brown is going to fire to the outside. That catch is made by Rezak. Sidesteps one and picks up about 6 yards out to the 28. That'll bring up 2nd and 4. Rezak continues
to get shifty.
Continues to be a successful asset out of the backfield as a pass catcher. And like you said, he's been shifty all night long. That's how he got Westside's first touchdown back in the first quarter. 2nd and 4 from the 28. This time he will take it as a ball carrier, and he is planted at the line of scrimmage. Keeney was in there again, and it's going to be 3rd and 4.
Prep doing a good job continuing to put pressure on the offensive line of Westside. You can see that they're still waiting on Sledge and Marcelino to come back, because neither of them are in there right now. But even without those guys, the depth of Prep's defensive line is showing, and they're doing a great job holding the fort.
3rd and 4. This is Prep's chance to get off the field quickly as Brown sidesteps two and fires incomplete. Creighton Prep forces a 3 and out, so the decision to punt does not end up costing them very much at all.
Guess who Brown was looking for on that play?
Guyette.
Yep.
He has been the go-to guy, but that time Creighton Prep able to close on him quickly and knock it away. So now 4th down, and Westside brings the punting team out there.
You got to get a solid return here if you're Prep, because you do not want to start where Pierce Johnson's standing. He's standing at his own 35. That's a pretty good starting field position, but you want to get it at least to midfield here so that your offense can get a short field and get a short, quick touchdown drive.
So Johnson back at his own 31. Martin Mormino will punt for Westside. 10:34 left in the fourth quarter. As they're going to fake it, and the ball comes out, rolling back toward the end zone. Pargo can't pick it up. It's still loose.
That's a safety.
Who has it?
It's a safety.
Safety. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well, there you go. There's a momentum-shifting play.
Wow.
What is Westside thinking here? They're up 17.
So they tried to, they snap it to one of the up men. He tries to hand it off, and the ball careens backward toward the end zone.
I am so
wow.
I'll have to look at the replay of that later, but my goodness, what is Westside doing?
So now we got an odd score of 23-8. That does make it a 2-possession game for Prep with 10:24 left in the fourth quarter, but they will need a 2-point conversion on top of one of the two touchdowns.
The real issue with that is the extra points, because you need 1 touchdown with a 2-point conversion and 1 touchdown with an extra point, but Prep hasn't made a kick tonight. So maybe they just go for 2 on both touchdowns afterwards. But That's some momentum. And now Westside, because it's safety, they got to punt from their own 20. So there's that good field position that we wanted. And not only that, Prep's got 2 extra points on the board.
Birdcage all fired up here in the fourth quarter. Prep now only down by 15 after the safety. Westside will get set for the free kick, which will be from the 20. And it is going to be the regular kicker, Tristan Alvano, to boot it away.
And we got Morey and Johnson back. Johnson didn't get a chance to return that punt because there was no punt. It ended up being a safety. But remember what he did in that second quarter with that big 67-yard kick return. If he can return this one to about midfield or the Westside 40, Prep's really got a chance to shift the momentum all the way to the blue side.
Johnson and Morey stand at the 20. And Alvano kicks from the other 20. It's a line drive to the right. Morey is going to let it go out of bounds, and there's another one that induces a flag. So Prep will have solid starting field position once again by way of a kick out of bounds. We'll see
That's
where
exactly what they needed.
Yep, we'll see where exactly they put it. Looks like the 40, 45-yard line.
Well, it looks like the 45.
Yeah,
there you
45.
go. There's the good field position. And Prep's really right back into this game.
They're still marching forward. This is going to be past midfield. He's
And
to
it
the
looks
45,
like
and he's going to put it down at the 45. So Prep starts on the plus side of the 50-yard line.
that is huge. Absolutely huge.
So not only can Prep get to the end zone relatively easily from this spot, they can get there relatively quickly.
And Egan and Stessman in the backfield. You've got that nice power formation going once again.
Stessman out to the right. Pernicke going deep, and it's just over the head of Pierce Johnson, who broke free. 2nd and 10 coming up. Boy, Prep had a chance to do something really big right there.
Well, even though it's an incompletion, I'd argue that it still did something very important. It forces Westside to consider, like, okay, they've got a fullback in the backfield, but they can still take a shot, and they've got Pierce Johnson, who is incredibly fast. He could get behind our secondary really easily. So that does force Westside to reconsider putting 8 guys in the box on every play, because now they got to worry about Pierce Johnson getting open behind them.
Shamar Brown is back in the game at running back.
Boy, 4 different guys in the backfield for Prep. It looks like one of them, I think, is Joe Keeney. Nope, never mind. That's Jack Kirkwood.
Yep. Here's Brown straight ahead, and he's going to fall on top of the pile for 2 yards. So 3rd and 8 coming up for Prep.
Got to get this one here.
Yeah, and you got to believe it's 4 down territory as well.
Oh, absolutely. There's 10 minutes to go in the game. It's all or nothing at this point.
So the clock reaches single digits in the minutes category. 9:55 left in the 4th. 3rd and 8 coming up for Prep from
Trey
the
Olden's
Westside
back
43.
in. Remember, he made a pretty key grab on their touchdown drive. 17 yards on a 3rd and 10. He might be able to do something like that again.
Prep going with a 3-receiver set. Johnson, Olden, Leiden from left to right. Pernicke in the gun. Shamar Brown to his left. He's going to roll out left. He's going to have some blocks. He's going to throw on the run, and that's airmailed out of bounds over the head of Trey Olden. So 4th down and 8 coming up for the Junior Jays. And, yeah, no doubt about it. Looks like the offense is going to. No, they're not.
Luke Fenton's on the field. He's talking with Coach Young, and it looks like he is going to stay.
Wow.
Now, that is a difficult decision to reconcile with.
So I guess the game plan for Prep is to have Fenton try to pin Westside really deep in their own territory and, at the very worst, get a quick stop and get the ball back with great field position and go at it again. But a missed opportunity for Prep on that drive.
I don't know. I feel like you got to go for it on this drive. It's a 15-point game, but there's almost only 9 minutes to go. You got to be using every opportunity you can.
Fenton's kick will go over Rezak's head and bounce into the end zone for a touchback. So Westside will begin at their own 20-yard line. Prep did force them into a 3-and-out last time, and on the fake punt attempt on 4th down, ball rolled back into the end zone and ended up being a safety. So we will see how this drive plays out, but no doubt about it, Prep's defense has showed up tonight, and They don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep doing it. Offense, sooner or later, has got to get something cooking.
They do, and what really is problematic is all the missed opportunities for Prep, because not only have they left 4 points off the board just off missed kicks, it could be 23-12 right now, which is potentially a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and field goal away from a tie. But the offense has had some opportunities on 3rd and medium or 3rd and short, and they haven't been able to come up with it. Only one offensive touchdown this game. That's not enough to beat Westside.
Here's Rezak, and again, Prep has the answer for him on 1st down. Gain of a couple yards out to the 22, 23-yard line.
You still got to get a stop. That clock is ticking.
And somebody is down for the Warriors. Somebody down at the 24-yard line. As it's going to be 2nd and 8, and we will take a quick break. Welcome back. Andrew Nielsen was the injured Warrior, the fullback. He was able to get off the field and walk off on his own power, and injuries certainly piling up. On a hot night like this, week 1, a lot of guys are still pretty raw.
And that's not to mention the abbreviated warm-up that they had due to the rain delay.
That too.
But 3rd and 4, and you can kind of start to feel the energy ebbing out of the Prep sideline and the Prep fan section. They've gotten the stops, but the offense just has not showed up when they needed it to. The defense might have to end up scoring a touchdown for Prep to really stay in this.
On 2nd and 7, Rezak is met head-on, but he continues to drag defenders close to the 1st down marker. He's about a yard short at the 29, as it looked like he took Max Cobbs and Ryan Carney for a ride. It's going to be 3rd and 1 from the 29.
Prep's got to send almost everybody here. You know they don't want Colby Brown to put the ball in the air unless they have to. So if I'm Prep, I'm sending almost everybody I have and their parents in the stands. You got to get a stop here.
3rd and 1 at the 29. Brown in the gun. Rezak on his left hip. Pitch it to him, and he's going to have the 1st down across the 30. Still on his feet. Rezak continues to churn out yardage as he's just shy of the 40, gain of 9 on the play, and another 1st down for Westside out at the 38.
That is not quite what Prep wanted.
So the 1st and 10, they spot it about halfway between the 38 and 39-yard lines. As Rezak definitely starting to get a little bit hotter here late in the game. Prep defense might be wearing down just a little bit.
You know, when you're playing a game like NCAA 14, this is where you go to your coach adjustments and you turn the strip ball onto aggressive because you've got to force a turnover here.
Rezak somehow bounces out of that mess of blue jerseys in the backfield, and he's able to turn that into 7 yards. Rezak just continues to make something out of nothing.
He's got to be getting pretty close to 25 carries by now, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got 22 at this point.
Yeah, he is just doing a great job carrying the ball. He is definitely not wearing down. An experienced guy, a senior back for his final year, the lead back on a state champ. It is just incredibly difficult to stop a guy with that much experience and intelligence.
2nd and 3 from the 46.
Clock under 7 minutes now.
Rezak again, and this time Prep is able to slow him down and stop him at the line of scrimmage. So another opportunity for the defense to get off the field. 3rd and 3 upcoming.
But if they're going to get off the field, they got to get off the line of scrimmage quickly, and they have to push the offensive line of Westside backwards. That's the only way that they're going to get a big stop.
So it looks like Rezak is going to come out of the game for this 3rd down. Jamez Ross, number 9 in white, will take his place. Westside taking some time to get the play. 3rd and 3 from the 46.
And Ross is a speedster. They might try to do a little shovel pass or a pitch of some sort to get him the ball in space.
And here goes Coach Freund sprinting down the sideline to get a timeout called. So Westside will talk it over before this 3rd and 3, and Prep will do the same. And what are you looking for if you're the Junior Jays? Westside might be able to bring Rezak back into the game with this timeout.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not looking for a downfield pass at all. I know Westside could try that, but considering how they got burned when they tried the fake punt earlier, I don't think they're going to try to be aggressive at all. I think they're just going to try and go ground and pound. It's only about 3 yards from where the ball is to the sticks. They could easily get that with a good push. So if I'm Prep, I'm sending probably 8 or 9 guys into the backfield. I'm going all out to stop the run.
So Westside will have 3rd and 3 as the two teams continue to talk it over. Dominic Rezak is up to 81 yards now on the night on 24 carries, and when you add up the 38 receiving yards, he's got 119 yards from scrimmage. And, of course, that receiving touchdown that started the scoring back in the first quarter. Sharmar Brown on the other side for Prep, 20 carries, 61 yards in the touchdown. So certainly been a couple of bell cows tonight on both sides. We expected it to be Stessman and Rezak, but instead Brown and Rezak. But these two teams,
Brown's done a great job, too.
They've had a ground and pound mentality going into the game. So here's 3rd and 3 for Westside.
You can see Prep all bunched up in the defensive formation. They think they know what's coming.
It was a direct snap to Rezak, but a flag is thrown, and Westside might just have some more yards to gain on 3rd down.
And the big key there is that's going to stop the clock as well, and that might put Westside into a passing situation, which means that if that's incomplete, the clock stops then too. So a really good flag for Prep.
So with 6:16 to go in the 4th quarter, Westside will now be faced with 3rd and 8 from their own 41. They'll have a 3 wide receiver set, make it 4 receivers. And then Brown has Rezak to his right.
So now you got to be careful with the pass if you're Prep. Westside's got a little bit more options.
Oh, snap, look out. And Brown is going to be sacked. Back at the 34-yard line.
I think that was Asher Anderson.
It was Asher Anderson, the junior linebacker, getting home for the takedown, and it's going to be 4th down.
6 minutes to go. When do you start using your timeouts if you're Prep? I know that wasn't a fantastic play from Asher Anderson, but at some point you've got to be like, you know what? We've got less than 6 minutes to score 16 points. We got to do something about this.
Caden Russell once again is shaken up for Prep as he walks down the midfield stripe with trainer Bill Kleber off the field. So with 5:52 to go in the 4th quarter, Westside will punt. Pierce Johnson is back at his 25.
Got to get a good return here. I know I keep mentioning that, but it still remains true. Giving the offense a short field is vitally, vitally important.
4th and 15 from the 34. As clock is running after that brief injury timeout.
And Westside's going to let that clock run all the way down. And that's why Prep probably should have used a timeout there, because if you're throwing the ball anyway, which they probably should considering how little time is left, if you're throwing the ball anyway, an incompletion just stops the clock. So you've got basically built-in timeouts, but
high arcing punt. Johnson will let it bounce, and it's going to bounce in Prep's favor, and Westside will down it at about the 38-yard line, so decent starting field position for the Junior Jays, but it is make or break time for Creighton Prep. Standing 62 yards away from Pater, they've got to find the end zone on this drive.
And they've got to do it quickly, too. At this point, you got to, even though the power formation has by far been the most successful, you just got to scrap that. George Egan's been great, but right now he probably shouldn't be on the field because Prep needs to move the ball downfield quickly and in a timely manner, and the best way to do that is with passing.
And indeed, George Egan is not on the field. They've got Pernicke in the gun with Shamar Brown to his right. 3 receiver set. They are going to run the ball with Brown, and he's going nowhere. Westside read him like a book. No gain on the play, and it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 38. And boy, is that Cole Jarrett down again for Prep? Holy smokes. Offensive line has just had a brutal night as Prep's got another offensive lineman slow to get up at the 38-yard line. And as they tend to him, we will take a quick break. Back here at Burke Stadium, it was Cole Jarrett, the injured offensive lineman for Prep, and boy, he has battled. We've seen him coming on and off the field again and again tonight as Prep will have a 2nd and 10 from the 38.
Under 5 minutes to go now. They really cannot afford to run the ball anymore.
Pernicke, watch out from the blind side. He's going deep. There's nobody home. It's well over the head of Leiden. And Pernicke got clobbered in the backfield, but looks to be just fine. It's going to be 3rd and 10 for the Junior Jays with 4:46 remaining.
You got to give Pernicke time. You know that the receivers are going to go deep, and that's why they brought Stessman in. He's a slightly better pass blocker than Sharmar Brown is, and they're going to need him to give Jack Pernicke as much time as possible to throw the ball because that is the only option here with 3rd down and 10 under 5 minutes to go.
Pernicke in the gun, Stessman to his right. Looking to throw. Pernicke hit as he throws. It's overthrown again, nearly intercepted but incomplete. Intended target was Aiden Morey. So 4th and 10 now for the Junior Jays, and it looks like they are going to punt. So 4:41 on the clock. Luke Fenton
This
will have to boot it away again.
feels like the game. I know there's still 4:40 on the clock, and it's only a 15-point game, but barring some sort of miracle like we saw against Millard West last year, unless this is a fake punt, I just do not see a way where Prep wins this football game at this point.
Fenton will punt to Rezac once again. Rezac standing back at his own 25. That's a very nice punt from Fenton, and Rezac is going to play it from just inside the 20, and he's going to be chased down. Nice pursuit from the Junior Jays, and the Warriors will start just shy of the 30-yard line with 1st and 10. 4:31 now remaining in the 4th quarter.
And now they get to do what they did for most of the 3rd quarter, just pound the ball because it was really working well. They kept getting the 1st downs when they needed to. And now with only 4:31 to go, they only need a couple more 1st downs before the game's wrapped up.
So it'll be 1st and 10 Westside at their own 28. And Prep without some of their key defensive linemen due to injuries. We've seen Sledge and Marcelino go down. Neither of them have come back. And
you got to wonder how the game would be different if they were still here.
Prep has not quite been able to run the ball like they've wanted to here in the 2nd half.
It also hasn't really been logical considering they've been down double digits for all of it.
Running the ball is Jamez Ross for the Warriors, and Junior Jays all over him in the backfield. And they're going to call it no gain on the play, so 2nd and 10 coming up from the 28.
You know, I will say, you could look at this game as either a good thing for Prep or a bad thing for Westside because this Westside team is clearly not the team that it was last year when they dominated everyone on Route 2 in undefeated state title season. But the number 1 team in the state isn't necessarily supposed to struggle this badly with a team that's only scored 1 offensive touchdown.
Ross again, what a beautiful cutback that was, and he's going to be dragged down with a saving tackle at the 34-yard line. He had a lot of green in front of him, but a nice run as it was from Ross, picking up about 6 yards, and it'll be 3rd and 4. And we got whistles, and looks Looks like a timeout called for by Prep with 3:36 to go. So that is the first Junior Jays timeout. We're wondering when they're going to start using them. Here we go.
And I will say that this is a very positive thing for Prep. They're playing the defending state champs in the first game of the season. Their team is basically decimated. They lost a starting corner. They lose 2 or 3 starting linemen. And yet, they're only like 2 or 3 fluky plays away from, at the very least, like a one-possession game.
Yeah, and regardless of the outcome tonight, you got to give a lot of credit to the defense because they've
you cannot say by any means this is a failure.
Yeah, they've only allowed 16 points because you got to remember 7 of those came off the pick 6.
Yeah, the defense has certainly done their jobs, but once again, as was a common refrain last year in the losses, it's the offense that just hasn't quite been there.
They've got time to come around. We'll see what happens. Prep does have a much easier opponent next week in Papillion La Vista, a team they were able to beat last year in week 2.
Although Papillion La Vista, their game just wrapped up. I mean, they outscored Papillion La Vista South 21-0 in the third quarter and ended up holding on for the win. They're probably going to be a fairly tough opponent for Prep too.
Brown's pass is spiked and incomplete, so it is a 3-and-out. Forced by the Junior Jays. It's going to be 4th and 4 for Westside. 3:34 remaining in the 4th. And these two teams continue to trade punts here in the game's final quarter. So Martin Mormino will head back out there to boot it away. Pierce Johnson stands out near his 30. Both teams with 2 timeouts. We'll see how much Prep. I mean, Prep's you almost have to completely go to the passing game in this situation.
Well, they should have done that long before this anyway. But this is definitely a promising game. This team's clearly showed heart, and there's going to be a penalty there. Yep. There it is, and that's really going to seal the game. It looked like it was John Pargo came in a little late. Punter went down. And it looks like Westside might get another set of downs out of this.
Yeah, the punt was down at the Creighton Prep 45-yard line, but the running into the kicker penalty is going to give the Warriors a first down. And some fans on this side of the field, the Prep side of the field, starting to hit the exits. 3:25 left in the 4th quarter. Westside will have a 1st and 10. Junior Jays with only 2 timeouts remaining. They get the chains moved up. The ball will be spotted at the 39-yard line.
I was going to say before the punt, like, if Prep manages to come back from this, would this be better than the Millard West comeback? But it doesn't look like there's any chance of a comeback happening now, which is a shame because the defense especially, as you keep harping on, has just been absolutely phenomenal. It's mistakes coming from the other phases of the game that have really doomed this team.
First down Westside at their own 39. Jamez Ross starting to get a lot of carries, and he is proving to be effective with them, picking up 9 yards that time on a couple stutter steps. As they'll mark the ball at the 48-yard line, so 2nd and 1 coming up. The clock is not moving, although I did not see any signal for a timeout, and now it does start to run. 3:20 remaining in the 4th. Westside gets set for 2nd and 1. Brown will go under center. Ross is still the running back. Offset I formation with Andrew Nielsen, the fullback. Here is Ross getting a couple blocks and getting tripped up in the backfield. That's a nice play by Michael Palmazzano. And no gain. It'll be 3rd and 1 for the Warriors. So that's something that was advertised pretty well about this Prep defense. They've got 2 experienced safeties in Sam Rodino and Michael Palmazzano that can come downhill and provide support in stopping the run, and you see a good example of it right there.
The defense for sure has lived up to the hype, and I'm going to be honest, if these two teams play again at full strength later this year, whether that's in the playoffs or whenever, I wouldn't be surprised if Prep manages to win. They've clearly shown that they're on roughly the same level talent-wise. It's just been the fluky plays and the 50-50 passes that have decided things.
3rd and 1. Prep invades the backfield again, so it's going to be 4th and 3 for the Warriors at their own 46.
You got 2 minutes to score 2 touchdowns.
And Prep will use their second timeout, so with 2:09 to go in the 4th quarter, Junior Jays will talk things over, but obviously La Vista is a very different team from the number 2 team in the state, but going into next week, what are the biggest adjustments Prep needs to make?
Well, I would say you better figure out the offense, because I feel like the power game was really working. The only issue is that power game can't really work when you're down double digits in the second half. So I would say that they need to start off with the power game and not worry about, one-back sets unless they have to. And then on special teams, you got to find a decent kicker, because Pat Foley last year was so dependable. If you needed a clutch kick, you knew he was going to make it. But right now for Prep, you don't really know if you're down, let's say 24-21 with 10 seconds left, you need a kick to be made. You don't know if that kick is going to be made yet, and that could potentially be an issue for Prep later in the year.
Martin Mormino will punt again. Pierce Johnson stands back at his 25. Snap. No fake this time. It's another high spiraling kick. Johnson's going to have a return from his 25. Nice stop and start. He runs into his own man, and he's going to get out to the 36. So Prep will have a minute 57 to try to make a miracle as they'll start this next drive 14 yards shy of midfield. And I think this is a situation where at the very least you got to give Jack Pernicke some more opportunities to really prove himself and get some more experience throwing the ball.
Yeah, we'll probably get to see what his arm strength looks like, because there's nothing to do but throw the ball. You can see they're going 5 wideouts now. Aiden Morey in at wideout for, I think, the first time all night.
Looks like they've got Shamar Brown split out at the top of the screen as well. They bring Pierce Johnson in motion. Pernicke will roll right. He'll throw on the run, and he's accurate. Out across the 40-yard line for a gain of about 5 yards. That was Trey Olden making the catch, and it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Junior Jays.
That's Olden's second of the game. He's certainly proved himself as an important receiver for this team.
So that was Olden, not Brown, split out at the top of the screen. Prep goes 5 wide again. Pernicke puts a lot of air under it, and it's nearly picked off. Pierce Johnson had a hard time tracking that one down, and it falls incomplete. 3rd and 5 coming up with a minute and a half to play. And it looks like the Junior Jays are going to go with the empty backfield for a 3rd straight play.
Might as well just huck it up and have some fun with it.
2 receivers to the left, 3 to the right. Pressure coming. Pernicke is on target. Nice catch by Pierce Johnson, and he's able to split a couple of would-be tacklers and get across midfield down to the 47. That's a Junior Jays first down with 1:24 to go.
And a score here would at least give the team some momentum to build on working into next week. Obviously, they're not going to win the game, but
Pernicke wisely heaves it out of bounds on a throwaway as he looked to scramble but was surrounded by white jerseys. So 2nd and 10 coming up, and the clock is running for some reason. He threw that away with about 1:10 to go, and it's winded down to 55, and now the officials recognize it.
Should be at like 1:05, I think, but
the officials are going to talk things over. Clock reads 57 seconds for the moment. That's not accurate. See how much they add back on.
Let's test the Hail Mary offense. I think that's what we need to see.
Maybe.
That'd be fun.
Prep still has a timeout, and they will add 15 seconds back on the clock. So 1:12 remaining in the 4th quarter. Junior Jays have 2nd and 10 from the Westside 47. Pernicke fires short. There's Pierce Johnson again. And he'll pick up 5 or 6 down to the 42. Clock will run, 3rd and 5 coming up.
Well, the short passing game appears to be working pretty well. That's a positive for Prep. It took a while for, even with guys like Alex Bullock and Sam Meisenberg, the short passing game took a while to develop last year, but looks like it's starting to develop early here.
Flag is down as Pernicke rolls right, throws deep down the field. It's incomplete over the head of Aiden Morey, and we'll see what this penalty marker is for back at the 47. And an illegal shift is going to be called on the Junior Jays. We'll see whether or not Westside accepts this or declines it. 48 seconds are on the clock. So they're asking Coach Freund.
One thing I am impressed with is how deep the bird cage has stayed. Obviously, this game's over. It's been over for some time, but it's still 10 rows deep. These guys clearly love this team, and they think there might be something special brewing. And it does look like you were right. The penalty was declined, so now it's 4th down and 5. Perfect Hail Mary opportunity if Prep wanted it.
Leiden goes in motion, empty backfield. Pernicke forced to his right, throws back across his body, and the speedster Aiden Morey nearly able to run it down, but it goes incomplete. And Prep will be powerless to keeping Westside from running the clock out as the Warriors will take over 1st and 10, and that will write a finish to this opening night. Warriors will close things out with a 23-8 victory. They'll be at home next week against Kearney.
Well, look at it this way. I mean, this is the lowest point total that Prep has allowed to Westside, I think, since 2016. And, like, even that was rare. 2013, Westside only scored 14 points. 2016, they only scored 3. But since then, Westside scored 30, 37, 41, 41, 37, 49, 49, and 42. To hold this team even to 23 points, even with a quarterback making his first start, that's impressive. Prep, especially the defense, should be able to hold their heads high as they look into next week.
Handshakes being exchanged, clock winding down. We waited all summer for it, and I'd say it was a pretty darn good game. One of the state's best rivalries, Prep and Westside. We waited an hour through the rain delay, and the intensity was still there. But the Warriors will come out on top with a 23-8 victory here in week 1. The Junior Jays, as we've been talking about, a lot of positives to take from this one, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but plenty of things to clean up, especially offensively and in the special teams area. The Junior Jays will be home once again next Thursday night against Papillion La Vista, and we'll have the game for you here on the Creighton Prep Sports Network.